This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The villain, Marty Scurll.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the busted wide open.
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 Boston wide open.
Busted wide open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from Twitch, but also being simulcast to YouTube and Facebook now. This is episode number 315 of Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And Chris Jericho this week put MJF's head through a glass refrigerator door the same way he put Shawn Michaels through the obscenely expensive Geritron in 2008. And as he did, much like in 2008, he said, "The worst is yet to come." Little did I know he was referring to tonight's Smackdown. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show, everybody. We do have so much to talk about. Yes, SmackDown did just go off the air, and there was some good stuff about it. We'll talk about that, as well as all of the things that have me pulling out my hair, Nick. We got to talk about those. And we also need to talk about AEW Dynamite this week. NXT had their go-home show for Stand and Deliver, nights 1 and 2. Good Lord. It's going to be a huge show, man.
Yes.
We got to get into this, but we got to do a little business first.
Indeed. We have to talk about some new stuff that's coming with the Patron Pick'ems as well. I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. We've been testing it in the back end, but linktree.com/BWO is to find where you find all the links to all of our stuff. Hello to everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube. We have missed you guys. We're glad we're able to spread the show across all of those. Glad you guys are watching from all over. We can see all of your chat messages. If you'd like to throw in bits and subs here on Twitch or super chats over on YouTube, we will call those out on the show as they come in. Thank you guys for all the support. We really love it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the things that we do with the social medias. Subscribe to us over on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BWO Podcast. And patrons, it is your time. Your time is now. It has arrived. It is WrestleMania season. It is time for the BWO Patron Pick'ems Championship for WrestleMania, the third annual, at this point, WrestleMania BWO Patron Pick'ems Championship. It is time. We are into April. You can go ahead and sign up. There's nothing holding you back anymore. All you got to be in is that $5 tier to participate in what is going to be officially, we will declare right here and now, the biggest ever BWO Patron Pick'ems Championship of all time.
Wow.
That's right. We have a lot to go over here. We're going to be bringing you guys up to speed on what's coming next week. You guys know about the schedule. It's going to get crazy. But there's a couple of new things that are coming at you. One, I believe it was Brian Lake. I want to give credit where credit's due, that made the original suggestion to include NXT Stand and Deliver 2 nights into the Pick'ems this year.
Yes.
It's official, patrons. You will be competing cumulatively across both nights of NXT Stand and Deliver and both nights of WrestleMania. All 4 nights of picks are going to matter. So, yes, if you're participating in it, it's going to be massive. We will have winners of the NXT event. We will have winners of the WrestleMania event. And we will crown the first ever BWO Grand Patron Pick'ems champion that will win across both. Now, it's unlikely that somebody's going to win one without winning the whole thing. We'll see how that shakes out. First time doing these things. We'll see how they go. The second big piece of news here. We're doing away with those terrible sheets of paper. They're gone by the wayside. I've finally figured out how to do it with a digital web form. So all you will have to
time
do
making those, man.
Well, I know. I just it's one of those things that when I get around to it, I finally found a way to do it. So we will be posting a link. When are we going to post it, Ian? We haven't really talked about that much.
Well, yeah, I think the best thing to do is just do it Tuesday night. Make sure they don't do any like last minute changes on us for NXT. And then we'll have to post another one for WrestleMania on Friday after SmackDown, just to make sure they don't do last-minute match changes on us or any last-minute additions or subtractions or changes or whatever, as main roster is wont to do. Yep. I think NXT is pretty safe, but just to be safe, we'll do both within 24 hours of the actual event. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll try to get those out to you guys before probably Tuesday during the day here in the next couple of days as we get them up. For NXT Stand and Deliver, at least for the first 2 nights of NXT Stand and Deliver. And then once SmackDown goes home, we'll get that up to you at the very latest, midday Saturday. So you've at least got 4 or 5 hours to put that up there. We just want to make sure that it is WrestleMania. We want to make sure that they're not going to throw a bunch of crazy stuff in at the last second. To make sure.
After this SmackDown, I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
I don't have a good read on anything that's going for WrestleMania right now.
We've got 2 days, and we're just going to cut the entire tag division out of WrestleMania. Okay, guys.
So, if you want to be a part of history here on Busted Wide Open and you want to get in on this, head over to patreon.com/BWO. All you got to be in is that $5 tier, plus you get audio-only versions of every episode. You get a copy of the show notes for every single episode. You get to send in questions every week throughout the month for our patron mailbag episode every Tuesday, and much more. You can get bonus episodes up at the $10 tier, including everything below it. Patreon.com/BWO. And along with your bits and subs here on Twitch and those super chats that we're happy to have back over on YouTube, those are the best ways to support you boys here on Busted Wide Open. Okay, so long-winded opening, lots of business to go through. Let's quit yapping our gums about that stuff. We'll have more on that posted in both Discord and Facebook very soon, I promise you, as we get closer to next week's Stand and Deliver event. But let's head over and kick things off with what went down on Friday Night SmackDown.
Well, Mr. Edge is salty about Daniel Bryan being inserted into his match at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns. Now, we knew this from last week. We had a nice, solid heel turn from Edge. It's confirmed. Edge is a heel, but just to make sure we were sure about it, Edge came out at the top of the show to cut a very nice promo illustrating that, yes, he was not happy with the fact that Daniel Bryan was going to be part of his match at WrestleMania. Just so you know, he ain't happy about it. All right. Well, fine. We can understand. We
were aware.
The good heels, the good, interesting heels are the ones where you can understand their motivations, and they've got some other personality stuff going on. And they did a good job of building up Edge, or Edge did a good job of building up his own character to have it be a understandable shift in his thought process where, he's now saying, oh, I didn't work 10 years to get back so that I could get screwed out of having a 50-50 chance at winning at WrestleMania. I didn't do all this work to at winning the Royal Rumble so that Daniel Bryan could weasel in by losing twice to the champ. All of his points are valid, but just he's being kind of a dick about it. And so he's saying the Rated R Superstar is back. He's back to being the conniving opportunist. That's the way it is. He's still acting somewhat like you can kind of relate a little bit. His actions are assholish, but his logic is sound.
It's not even that. It's just that I got browbeat with it for 2 hours straight tonight.
Right. Which is, hey, fine. They want to make sure you understand what's going on in Edge's mind. He was on commentary during the main event. The main event was Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso in a street fight. This was apparently put together because they wanted to weaken Daniel Bryan and punish him for getting after Roman Reigns. So Roman pulled some strings. They got this done. Main event, Jey Uso, once again living up to the name. And frankly, it was the best part of SmackDown. It was a killer match between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. They, at this point, they've worked with each other enough where they're just clicking on all cylinders. It was a cool match. Lots of big spots. Daniel Bryan kicked out of a chain hit to the face and then a frog splash. So he's now showing off the fact that Daniel Bryan he should be on the stage with Roman and Edge. He's a tough dude. That's what they're trying to show in this match. And after the match, Daniel Bryan does tap out Jey Uso. A guy who would not tap out to Roman Reigns is now tapped out twice to Daniel Bryan. But then Daniel Bryan went on the offensive, took out Edge, who was blathering all through the match ringside, although very eloquently, and actually I liked his commentary a lot. He did a great job of building the WrestleMania match and also displaying like what his new tendencies and, screaming at Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso, don't look at me, don't look at me. Daniel Bryan takes him out, takes out Roman Reigns, puts him in the yes lock on the ramp, makes him scream and beg for mercy, and then, not really, but he makes him scream. And then Daniel Bryan gets up and, yes chants his way out of the show, looking very strong on his way out of the show here next. So at the end of the show, how do you like the main event of WrestleMania picture here? It's now a triple threat. It's now, we've got Edge defined as being on the heelish side of tweener, and Roman is just still, dastardly Godfather heel. Daniel Bryan is once again a tough underdog babyface. You just can't count him out. What do you think about how things are after we have this second to last pre-Mania SmackDown?
I would have loved to have seen this Edge versus Daniel Bryan feud.
We might still
I
see
think
that.
we might still post-Mania. However, I feel like this greatly diminishes Edge's end-to-end run at the Royal Rumble and what he's been. He held us on edge, trying to figure out who he was going to pick for so long. And then I feel like he's now being that kind of petulant child throwing a tantrum going, that's my match at WrestleMania. Why is Daniel Bryan in here? But he's just having a tantrum now.
But aren't you're saying his logic, and then his tantrum in a sense is his rationale for turning heel. And it's one of the things that defines him as a heel that should make you want to boo him. Does that mean then that they're doing it right? Because you buy into his logic, but you're frustrated with how he's going about it.
Maybe. I'm frustrated with I'm frustrated with I'm not a huge. I know we're on opposite sides here. I'm not a fan of inserting Daniel Bryan into it as a triple threat. I'm in general not a fan of triple threat championship matches, unless there's some cool way it happened. But I think this is bad because it diminishes Edge's run at Royal Rumble. It diminishes the return of Edge. It diminishes. Look at the pop that we got at Royal Rumble last year for Edge coming back pre-pandemic, right?
Sure.
And I'm sure they're looking forward to having that. That place is gonna light up as soon as Edge, you think you know me, pop hats at the end of the second night. It's going to be massive. And I feel like they're diminishing it by bringing in Daniel Bryan as well. I'm wondering if they're thinking of how they could possibly cash in on having fans back for the first time. Can we get 3 of the most over people ever and throw them into the ring at the same time? I'm wondering if there's something there.
How do you do that? I mean, is this going to be a Hogan and Rocket Mania situation where
they're both getting
the fans
cheered.
are just gonna everyone's getting cheered in the match?
Everybody will get cheered.
People rooting for everybody.
It's like you said before. Oh my God, we're back. Wrestling's back.
I mean, that's the thing is I know that's one of the main reasons from what I understand why Vince screwed over the Hurt business and broke it up. More reports are coming out about that, by the way. Apparently both MVP and Lashley went to Vince and pleaded for him not to break it up. Apparently it was all Vince who wanted to break up Hurt business. Nobody else wanted it. It was bad for morale. It was panned backstage as an idea, but Vince wanted it because he felt like the Hurt business was too over, and he needed to separate Lashley and put him with someone like Baron Corbin, who was going to get booed. And that was the main reason he did it, was he was worried Lashley was going to get cheered, which, if you're worried about that, maybe don't book them as a cool pseudo face tweener faction for half the year. I don't know, just my crazy logic here. But that's kind of the same thing that they're looking at with Roman and Edge and Daniel Bryan. We want Roman to get booed, but he's really freaking cool as a heel. Edge, we want Edge to be cheered against Roman, but will he be cheered against Roman? I think Vince thought maybe Edge might not get cheered or might not get cheered enough. And so throwing Daniel Bryan in there to define that, I don't know. To me, it doesn't quite make sense in terms of the dynamics they're creating here. I don't know if people will boo Edge.
They will not.
Even,
there is no way. There's no way in hell people are going to boo Edge. Period. Hard stop. Right? Especially after that return pre-pandemic. So this is the first taste of live fans wrestling that we're getting. One of the last memories that we have pre-pandemic was Edge's return at Royal Rumble.
Sure.
So he's bookending this pandemic for us in a way. There's no way he's going to get booed.
And you know what's wild is we've become, you and I, even as running the show, we've kind of become immune to WWE's piped in crowd noise, and it's having everyone in the Thunderdome, be told exactly what to do. Hey, everyone do the yes chants right now. And it's all canned audience, audience on command, something that WWE's always kind of wanted because they've been piping in crowd noise for years to TV, depending on what they want and what they don't want. You can't control a crowd. They're going to do what they want to do. I, for one, cannot freaking wait for the crowds to come back and screw up WWE's plans again, because they think they know what their fans want. They like to run their mouths that they give their fans. They listen. Oh, we listen so carefully to Stephanie McMahon did it this week. We listen very closely to what our fans want. We make sure to give it to them. Oh, do you? Do you?
Right.
Right. Okay.
We're going to have Bizarro World on a different level come WrestleMania.
That's adorable. I guess that's what you think is going on in your ivory tower, sweetheart.
Right.
No, it's not. They're going to have a rude wake-up call when they get their crowds back and they see how people react to a lot of the things that up until now, they've been operating in a vacuum. They've got no idea how people are going to react to stuff. And there's a lot of people that are just, myself included, that are just bottled up. Like, we want to just go to a live event and scream what we think about something at them. No one listens to, they're not listening to Twitter.
No.
They're not listening to YouTube or Instagram. You know what I mean? Those, and frankly, I don't blame them. So, the only way people are going to be heard is by having a whole crowd come in and say, we want Edge to be a face and cheer the hell out of Edge, or we don't want to have, we don't want Lashley to be a heel. So
WWE, just like every other major corporation, uses social media as a unidirectional megaphone. They are shouting what they think and what they want you to see. The listening. Nah.
What happens if at Mania, and we're going on a bit of a tangent here, everybody, but what happens if at Mania, everyone's pissed off, the Hurt Business broke up, they're sympathetic for Lashley, they're frustrated that it looks like Drew's going to go over after Lashley just won it and became interesting. What if Drew beats Lashley and gets booed?
Oh.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Oh.
I really don't at this point.
Oh, that's scary. I actually got chill bumps there. That's scary. That's a very scary, real possibility.
It's a real possibility. And it's a possibility that you could have someone go over in this Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan match and have it not done the right way. And it just leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth, because it is, even though they're defining it so clearly and they're ramming it down our throat. Okay, Edge is a heel now. Roman is a heel now. Daniel Bryan is he's a plucky underdog babyface who can get it done because he's really tough. But is Daniel Bryan not connecting well enough? Do people really want to see Edge as a heel? Are people going to cheer Roman because he's a badass heel? Like, this is all a house of cards, and I could very easily see it collapsing.
Oh man, you just put some big fears into me. Let me do some catching up real quick.
Let's catch up, and then we'll move on to, because I got some venting to do.
All right. Will James resubbed with the tier 1 for 8 months. Oh man, thank you so much, Will James. That means you get a little bit of the chicken. Thank you very much, man. Welcome back. Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits, said, "Hola, phenomenal ones." Just saying, hey, because I'm playing hooky from work tonight just to watch this show.
Yeah.
You know what? It's Easter weekend. It's a long weekend. I hereby endorse your playing hooky. Tell your people to call my people, and I'll sort it out for you, man. Thank you very much, Jay. Kyle Cotton threw in 100 bits, said, Edge, I don't know how to tell you this, but you are the reason Brian is in this match to begin with. To quote DJ Khaled, congratulations, you played yourself. That's interesting.
I'm not mad at that storytelling, though. You know, there are aspects of the story that are interesting. It's just it's walking a fine line.
It is. That is a tightrope to dance for sure.
They're being very. There's lots of words I could use here to describe it, but they're taking a big chance with having their first crowd back be WrestleMania after the build they're giving for some of these WrestleMania matches. Whoo boy, they don't know. They're not going to know what to expect from the real fans. So I'm very curious to see what happens there.
Yes, thank you very much, Kyle. Roberto BWO, what's up, man? Cheered 100 bits.
What's up, man?
Said after that finish, it made me feel bad for Brian at Mania. Like him, I'm gonna need a lot of alcohol, food, Red Bull, rest, and a priest.
Not Damien.
Hey,
Somebody say priest.
What are you doing on the show?
I'm sorry.
What's
To keep my life and marriage
Raw.
going.
Come on, this is SmackDown, Mr. Priest. Stay in your hole.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, hello, Naya. What?
What?
Thank you, Roberto.
No,
Esme, what's up, chick? Threw in 100 bits. Said, could this possibly be the worst road to WrestleMania ever? I mean, I'm not gonna say ever.
No.
9 was pretty terrible.
No, but there's some really bad booking, really bad building to this WrestleMania.
Well, they have a tendency to be able to pull it out at the last minute. At
this
times.
is the thing. We're gonna on paper, there's a lot of good matches, but dear God, the build of some of these matches are just atrocious, just atrocious.
I don't know. I want to be so invested and so excited. Like, oh my God, I can't wait till a week from today. It's going to be WrestleMania weekend. Oh my! And I'm sitting over here going, I have no idea what I'm feeling about WrestleMania this year.
You know what the build this year reminds me of is seeing a Jackson Pollock painting and then finding out that he made it by taking paint enemas. Like what the end result is really cool. How you got there is terrible. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing with this WrestleMania right now. It could be a work of art, but I'm never going to forget that how you got there was you just pulled it out of your ass.
Right, exactly.
I think you also have another Kyle Cotton.
There's a few more.
He says, oh, okay, well, I'll let you catch up then,
sir.
Kyle
threw in 100 bits, said WWE is listening to numbers, not people.
Yes.
Hence why they reacted so strongly against Lashley and Hurt Business. They saw the increase in ratings, and they knew they screwed up with Drew. I'm not putting that together right away.
Screwed up with Drew. I don't know that they think they screwed up with Drew. I think Drew's going to go over Lashley at WrestleMania, and that may or may not go over well at this point.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We'll see how it all pans out, but I fully expect a coronation of Drew with fans this year.
Fickle fans.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Kyle. Mr. Divian threw in 100 bits, said, Edge pins Brian, Roman, I was never pinned trope.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then Edge is your champ. That's right now I'm leaning towards that finish. And you know what? I'm not mad at it.
I think that's the best possible outcome.
Best possible outcome. There's more heat between Edge and Daniel Bryan right now than between either of them and Roman. That feels more like it.
And then do we end up getting the Roman Edge match at SummerSlam that we were supposed to get at WrestleMania?
That's my feeling.
See, that's where I'm just mad. Like, why can't we do this after?
You want. You're getting everything you want then. You're getting both matches. What do you want? Oh, no, I want Roman and Edge first, and then the triple threat at SummerSlam. It's not what I want. Hashtag more wrestling.
Fine. Fair enough. Fine. Thank you, Roberto. Sorry, that was Mr. Divian. Roberto threw in another 100 bits, said, I'm going with 4 other friends that don't follow WWE since the Attitude Era, and I bet you they are going to cheer for Edge. I would bet you're right. I bet they're probably not going to know who Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan are.
A lot of Gen Xers and early millennials.
A lot of people that probably look like me.
A lot of salt and pepper in the hair in that crowd.
Yep. Thank you, Roberto. And Kyle finally threw in another 100 bits, said this WrestleMania build is 31 bad. Hopefully it's a somewhat similar card result. Yeah, I mean, most of the 31 build was all about Seth Rollins all the time. Will he cash in? Will he not? I don't remember much about WrestleMania 31 other than the cash in.
I actually, what's funny is I actually recall that they kind of underplayed Seth Rollins cashing in, so it was still kind of a surprise. It looked like it was just going to be Roman and Brock straight up, and everyone was furious about that. And there's a bunch of the other matches too, just crap, just terrible build. I agree with Kyle, and I also agree that I hope that this one pulls it out in the same way where. You had like in that one, you had a clash between Seth Rollins and Randy Orton with the greatest RKO of all time. You had an Intercontinental title ladder match that started out that just was no build, and it ended up being a great, awesome spectacle of a match. You had your downside with that too, with like Triple H versus Sting, Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's, it wasn't 100%.
Was that the year he rolled the Terminators out?
Yes, that was the Terminators year. Yeah. But
cool.
Again, hopefully, kind of like with last year's WrestleMania, where the builds were just more bizarre than anything else, because what are they going to do? It's a pandemic. They were kind of figure out how the hell
Are
do
we
do
even
this?
going to have a WrestleMania?
And they pulled out a great WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, let's call a spade a spade. Last year's WrestleMania was awesome.
It was.
And considering what they were up against, so sometimes when WWE backs itself into a corner is when it does its best work. And if they're just backing themselves into a corner right now, hopefully that means we'll get a great WrestleMania. God knows I've got every finger and toe crossed, because we got to talk about some of the absolute garbage on this SmackDown, because, man, there was some bad shit. We had a repeat of a match that we had a couple of weeks ago. All 4 tag teams, including the champs, were in an 8-man tag match. Once again, the Alpha Academy was teamed up with the Dirty Dogs to face off with Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and with the Street Profits. This time, Otis got the big splash, pinned Montez Ford, and that was that. They did have the Alpha Academy. Chad Gable had a nice little speech before the match saying that they're going to do it for the Academy, that they're bad guys, just to remind us all. Thank you very much. That he turned Otis heel, all that kind of usual stuff. But now it looks like they might be the front runners to take out the Dirty Dogs next week, when we have a fatal 4-way match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Drum roll, please, Nick. On SmackDown before WrestleMania.
Oh boy. So we're having a fatal 4-way tag team match for the championships on SmackDown, but we're not booking it for WrestleMania?
On SmackDown. On freaking SmackDown. That's 8 dudes who aren't getting a WrestleMania paycheck. That's 8 dudes who aren't going to be on WrestleMania. A WrestleMania that is 2 nights. You've got 2 nights to fill, and you can't even fit in all 4 tag teams on SmackDown into one freaking match on one of those 2 nights. What in the absolute hell is going on? The only way that I'm going to calm down about this is if there's some sort of swerve in that match and some sort of skullduggery, and they go, never mind, we're going to have another fatal 4-way, or we're going to say that whoever won it, there's a rematch of some sort, one team on one team at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Okay, the 4-way's a build to something at WrestleMania, then I'll calm down. But if you're going to use all 4 of your tag teams and take 8 guys out of getting a WrestleMania paycheck and put them on a SmackDown before WrestleMania, that's shit booking. That's absolutely insane. That's leaving money on the table once again. Don't get me started on the Raw Tag Team division, where you could have also had a fatal 4-way, but you broke up Retribution, you broke up the Hurt Business, and you have AJ Styles and Omos, who are just now starting to be a tag team, doing Pictionary with New Day instead. You could have had 8 tag teams on 2 brands, all having a good match at WrestleMania, but instead you blew up one brand entirely, and the other brand, you're just having them swim around in a circle in a swamp, and then not even letting them be on WrestleMania. It's absolutely incomprehensible to me. When WWE decides to shoot itself in the foot, it grabs a whole ass shotgun. Sorry, that's my rant for the night. I might have another one here in a second when we talk about the women's tag division.
Well, there's nothing else I can add to that other than
Also,
I've made my position perfectly clear, and I think we both have, that why, especially for one of the big 4 pay-per-views, why would you have a title match on the go-home show?
Yeah.
You need matches to fill those cards.
There's sometimes they've
and a fatal 4-way tag team match, how is that not going to be fun?
Especially with these guys. Yeah. This match was fun. Yeah, it was entertaining. People were flying everywhere. Big moves all over the place. Montez Ford chugging from his cup and then going all Ultimate Warrior on the ropes.
I don't get it.
I'm here for it.
I don't get it.
I'm here. Man, it's insane.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, so I was watching SmackDown with Mom with a visit on Good Friday, and even my mom, who doesn't watch wrestling regularly, pointed out how stupid having an 8-man tag with all the contending teams when you have a fatal 4-way title match next week, in that you basically gave away the match somewhat here, and I didn't say anything to influence her.
And it's funny because
Thank you, Kyle.
Somewhat see the thank you, Kyle, and very true, and say hi to your mom.
Does she drive a white minivan by chance?
Because if she does, that's a great gimmick, and you should totally steal that from Trent.
Yeah.
But that's no. And the thing is, I do understand setting it up like this, where Alpha Academy wins this tag match. They're looking dominant. It makes you wonder if they're going to take the tag titles in the Fatal 4-Way, where everyone's on everyone next week. It's not the best booking, but I understand it, and it's not the worst booking. The worst, and again, having the Fatal 4-Way match, they should have the Fatal 4-Way match. It's just, why not have it
on the pay-per-view?
WrestleMania? You've got 2 nights. What else do you have going on that's going to do? And so we'll see. Again, like I said, maybe I'm going to take my chill pill. Maybe they've got something planned where they'll have a tag match on one of the 2 nights. Maybe this was supposed to be the kickoff show for night 1, because supposedly they're not going to have a kickoff show match because they want the first match back to be a big deal. And it's going to be a big deal in the first night.
Y'all don't even know. We're not even spun up yet. We haven't talked about the women's tag division yet.
Well, you know what, Nick? Let me stretch it out here.
Crack my neck a little bit. Let's get into this. Oh, this is going to hurt.
This one stings. Women's tag division time. Shayna Baszler has a one-on-one match with Natalya. Once again, Nia Jax on commentary with Reginald hanging out there. They had passed Carmella in the hallway, by the way, and Nia had a couple of snide words for Carmella, said, "You treated my man wrong." Shayna Baszler and Natty get into a roll-up situation, start trading cradle pins. One pin, 2 pin. On the 3rd pin, Shayna Baszler, who apparently on main roster, her weakness is just standard basic wrestling, gets pinned. This is a minute. I didn't time it. It happened so quickly that even the commentary they were still in the middle of asking questions of Nia Jax, and they were as flummoxed as we were. What? That's it? Oh my God.
I was doing something else on my main monitor, and I had Smackdown going on my left monitor here, and I remember seeing the entrances and everything, and I was typing. I think I was typing something into Discord, and I heard everybody freak out in the bell ring. I was like, wait, what just happened? They were just doing entrances.
Yeah, and then just because there wasn't enough poop in this shit salad, Nia Jax jumps into the ring. She starts to attack Tamina and Natalya. Tamina, by the way, with some nice new ink on the right arm there. Don't think I didn't see.
Wearing
cool.
Looks like a Heart Foundation jumpsuit of sorts.
Not mad at it. But then out comes the Riot Squad to start attacking everybody as well. They get into it. Then out comes Mandy and Sonya.
And Dana.
What? Dana, Mandy and Dana. Then out come Lana and Naomi. And then we have this huge, women flying everywhere. Everyone's pulling moves and everybody else. Giant kerfuffle. Women's tag team kerfuffle. And ends with Natalya and Tamina standing tall, which was an interesting choice as well. So instead of doing any kind of interesting booking in the women's tag division for the last few months, instead of actually building some sort of storyline, we've kept the women's tag team champions in the singles title picture. We've had one of the tag team champs pinned multiple times. And in humiliating fashion in quite a few of them. We've suddenly thrown together all the women's tag teams at once, even though they're not on the same brand, because apparently we're building for a Survivor Series match and not a WrestleMania match. And at the end, Natalya and Tamina, who already had beaten the champs and proven that they should be the number 1 contenders, stand tall. Can you explain this to me, Nick?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Let me read a couple of call-outs first, and then I'll throw my opinion in. Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits, said, not even drinking Blanton's is making the SmackDown booking sound any better. What is Blanton's?
Not even drinking Booker's. Not even drinking Booker's could make this sound any better. Blanton's is a very good Kentucky whiskey.
Oh, nice.
Official bourbon of the Kentucky Derby, I believe.
Nice.
High proof, but nowhere near as high as Booker's, which is what I was getting at. You need a lot more alcohol by volume to make this make sense.
Thank you, Jay.
And even then, oblivion will come before this makes sense.
Bring forth, may the Dark Lord Cthulhu bless you this WrestleMania season.
Oh my God.
Will, thank you, Jay. Will James threw in 100 bits, said, I honestly liked everything that happened after the match, just being semi-lazy booking chaos that it was, but having that match at all was trash. Just don't even ring the bell. So the reason I wanted to read call-outs real quick is because I agree with this. You could have had a fuzz finish, false finish, or a crazy schmoz finish of some sorts. Have Nia get involved. Have the girls run out. You emptied the entire tag team division into the ring. Yes. That's fine. I might would have saved that for next week on the Go Home show. That's Nick booking, but I'm not mad at what they did. I am pissed off at what they have done to Shayna Baszler in the last 3 to 4 months. Oh man, it is. I don't know that she can come back from that. She is basically Nia Jax's goon now.
Yeah, she's still a champ for now. Once she's no longer a champ, she's DOA. She's toast. I mean, but again, at this point, once one of my favorites goes to main roster, I try to disconnect my heart. I assume they're going to be destroyed. Yeah. That's just how it works. Yeah. Whether it's Aleister Black or Ricochet or Andrade or Angel Garza or Metro Carrillo or Shayna Baszler or any number of tag teams, I unplug my feelings and go, you know what? You had a good career while you were there, kid. And if they do manage to take off like Sami or KO, then great. But yeah, so I feel bad for Shayna, but at this point I'm like, yeah, that's about right. I was looking forward to a good Natty and Shayna match. I wanted to see them actually have a wrestling match, but F me, right? It's the women's division.
Oh, we'll trade cradles and roll-ups. Good job.
Hashtag evolution. Right. Hashtag women's evolution. Let's give them 1.5 minutes to have a cradle pin. You all get emptied into the ring, and that's the entire segment.
Remember what back in the old days when we were just doing the audio show, we used to have this phrase, "Let's get all the women on TV." That's what this felt like. Was what they used to do. Was we needed a way to let's get all the women on TV. That's what this felt like.
The only thing that's missing is the bra and panties.
Yeah, yes.
You know what I mean? It's the same women's booking logic.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
it's just it's just a slightly more wrestling based. It's just that much less story based. Yeah. It's crap.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said less than a minute with nothing but a small package exchange. This is peak Divas era bad. You could literally do this whole angle without undermining your talent. Have Mandy and Dana attack Nia. Have Riot Squad attack Tamina. Have all hell break loose to a no-contest brawl. Automatically, this is significantly better without undercutting one of the most dominant NXT women's champions of all time.
Eva Marie could have wrestled the match that Natty and Shayna just had. Like that's.
I mean, I'm not even sure about that, but I hear you.
And those are two of the most technically talented women in WWE from a technical standpoint. It's just it's mind blowing to me, but not surprising. One thing that was surprising about this, and to be honest, somewhat intriguing, a little light, Nick, a little nugget of gold in the gigantic shit salad, was that while this match was going on, Carmella accepted Billie Kay's resume. Billie Kay is still out there trying to give resumes to people, and Carmella took it and kind of went, a Carmella Billie Kay team up. What say you, Nick?
I'm not prepared to judge it yet. I need to see the dynamic because basically it was she shoot her away and then she went, actually, no, let me have that. And then shoot her away. So we didn't really get an exchange there. Can Carmella keep up with Billie Kay in the riffs? That's what I'm looking for.
Carmella's a very smart woman. And she's very creative as well. I feel like they just haven't given her opportunities to really showcase a lot of that. But she's a good idea woman, and that's something that I've heard from Ellsworth said it, Big E has said it, that she's got some really good ideas. Yeah. She's got a good mind. So I'm actually intrigued by that. Now that's all we saw about that. We did see Carmella again. She had a match with Bianca Belair in the other good spot of this show, by the way, another very good spot in this show, and that was Bianca Belair coming out and looking like she could hang with the former Smackdown champion. Carmella looked like she was wily, could go in the ring. Bianca looked like she was a monster, ultimately just overpowered Carmella and just beat her down KOD 1, 2, 3. But then, Nick, right when they had it was looking so good. All they needed was to have Sasha Banks come in and just lay out Bianca from behind, stand tall over her and say, no more games. Let's do this. Instead, what they had was Sasha come out, get into the ring, almost lay out Bianca, and Bianca goes, nuh-uh, we're not going to do this until WrestleMania. She points at the WrestleMania sign, and Sasha goes, okay, sounds like a plan, gets out of the ring, gives Bianca the ring, because it's exactly what Sasha Banks' character would do. Gives gives Bianca Belair the ring and holds up her title out near the commentary booth and says, "I'll see you at WrestleMania." This should have been such a good build. This is another one where the match is going to be great, but the build is atrocious. And another instance here where you could have built some heat between the two. You could have showed us they've actually got some sort of animosity, but instead, no. What you showed us was that I don't know if it's professional courtesy. I don't know if it's respect. Sasha's kind of being squirrely, but kind of not. Sasha is not defined as a character right now. We don't know what she is other than I'm the boss, I'm cocky. And Bianca just looks like a powerhouse babyface. Yep. But just very bland.
Whose ponytail is getting longer. Like it's as long as she is now.
It's always been, I think, pretty much that long.
I saw it dragging the floor tonight, and I was like, God, man, that thing's is it getting longer? Catherine, another 100 bits. Nice to see John Laurinaitis' treatment of the women came back with his return to talent relations.
Well said. Well said. I don't think he's got anything to do with creative, but apparently it's just having him in the building gets us right back to that place.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Brian shared 100 bits, said, "Where is Bayley?"
Right. Half of the horsewomen aren't at this WrestleMania. Charlotte got told she was pregnant, and so she's not at WrestleMania by the WWE doctors. They gave her a misdiagnosis of being pregnant, womp womp, and screwed her out of that. I still say that smells like some sort of skullduggery. Mm-hmm. And then Bayley, they just were like, yeah, no, we can't think of anything to do with you. I don't know. Maybe Bayley didn't want to be at this WrestleMania. She wanted to take a break. I have not heard one way or another what the hell is going on with Bayley. But how do you not have Bayley at WrestleMania?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Like, Nick, you're even a guy who says they have to move on past the 4 horsewomen, right? Yeah. But how do you do nothing with 2 of them?
3 of them.
Well, one of them I think might be making a surprise comeback at WrestleMania. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But how do you not use 2 of the other ones that are active and could be there and compete?
Yeah. Because she had a stupid talk show gimmick that looked like Sally Jesse Raphael.
That was I dug the gimmick. I thought that was funny.
Right, whatever. Will James threw in 100 bits. Said, I wonder if they're afraid to turn either of them heel. Bianca can't be heel if she's on the rise, and Sasha is just way too popular on social media. I don't think that's the problem. It's a problem, but that's not the reason that they don't have a white-hot feud after Bianca's meteoric rise. They should have an absolute white-hot feud between the 2 of them. And they have absolutely nothing to work with because they've wrangled them up again with Shayna and Nia, just like they did on Raw.
If they're scared of turning Sasha heel, then don't have her be a heel. This wishy-washy is she or isn't she shit is what's part of one of the main reasons I think why this just feels it's just falling so flat. It's just it's going out like a whoopee cushion.
Yep.
Something else good on the show, Nick. Let's talk about something
I know
else.
we got to move on. We got to get going here, guys.
After this.
Let's see. That was that one. Thank you, Will. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said the worst thing about this Bianca stuff is they are doing hard script backstage promos, taking away her greatest strength, which is to improv in the moment. I can't remember when was the last time we got a line like, you don't even go here. Yeah, I think Bianca's really good at that. Sasha is not. Sasha needs structure.
Yes. Sasha not good at improv. Bianca, very fun, can pull out some really fun lines.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. But welcome to main roster, kids. Yeah. So, well, I hope that Bianca, I think, has kept a lot of her magic. I really do think she has. I think she will be fine. And again, I think the feud will be great at WrestleMania, or the match will be great. But it's just a matter of how they then, if they do the right thing and let Bianca go over, because, I mean, I kind of feel like WWE needs Bianca to go over here. If Sasha beats her, that's going to kill any momentum that Bianca has. It's going to kill the perception of her as being a cool up-and-coming star. Sasha has not been in any way charismatic or engaging with this whole feud build. She's looked good from a very surface level, but not in terms of her character.
No.
So if she was to go over Bianca at WrestleMania, I think that would be a huge error by WWE at this point.
Oh, big time. And I will be back on here on the recap show going at some point. You're going to have to move on from the 4 horsewomen of NXT.
This is the time.
This is absolutely. This is the time to
yeah.
cement Bianca as one of those for the next 10 years.
Up until now, Nick, I've told you it's not time yet. It's not time. It's not time yet. They need to create a legacy. They need to establish they are still the best women in WWE on main roster. This is now the time when I go, yes, Nick, you are correct. This is where they move past them. This is where they create another star on the level of one of the 4 horsewomen. Put her over Sasha. Put the stamp on Bianca Belair. Put the rockets on her. Make it happen. She is your future for the next few years.
And I'll say the same thing about Rhea on Raw.
Say the same thing about Rhea on Raw.
As we throw in 100 bits, said,
those
is Vince taking TV for granted? He knows he'll make it back on the pay-per-views, so TV can be bad? And it's fine? I don't know if he's taking TV for granted. I think he takes everything seriously. I think he just thinks it's all his, and it's his personal, private little sandbox that he doesn't care what anybody else says.
It's not so much taking it for granted as much as knowing that the ends justify the means. Even if TV doesn't really land, you got to land the plane at the big show. And as long as they do that, we'll forgive them, because we will. We'll still sit here and be like, man, that build towards WrestleMania 31 was terrible, wasn't it? What a great WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the thing. He's right. Is that, people who might skip the weekly shows are going to tune in for WrestleMania. As long as you land that plane there, that's what matters.
All right, so what do we got left to talk about here on SmackDown?
Couple more things. Sami Zayn had his red carpet premiere for his trailer for his documentary. Logan Paul came out and sat with him uncomfortably and watched this trailer of Sami Zayn being totally paranoid and delusional in another dimension. Very funny work by Sami Zayn here, sweating profusely, looking like a completely insane person next to Logan Paul, who was, I don't know if that guy's face is made out of high-grade plastic or what, but the dude didn't cut a sweat, nothing. I mean, he was like, he had more makeup on his face than Natalia. It was very impressive. And he was wearing a sweater. So I was very impressed by that.
It's not hot in Tampa. It's very warm in Tampa.
It's not only is it warm, it gets humid.
The lights are crazy.
Lights and pressure and all of the rest. I'm going to say it right now, dude. I thought Logan Paul did really good in this entire segment. He was believable. He was in the moment. He responded when he needed to be awkward. He played awkward really well when he needed to be excited. He played excited really well when he needed to be scared and confused by Kevin Owens coming in and giving Sami Zayn a stunner because he was sick of Sami Zayn being insane. He was confused and scared. I thought Logan Paul did great.
And apparently he was on Masked Singer this week too, so I don't know if Fox worked out some kind of deal with him or what the terms were there, but
he's on some sort of publicity tour. I don't know. I don't care. Sammy invited him to be at WrestleMania. He says he's going to be there too. I hope he's involved in the big spot. I hope Kevin Owens power bombs him off the stage onto a table the same way he did Machine Gun Kelly. So all right, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Cool. That they're 2 for 2 with celebrities this year. Nick, what's going on?
I don't know.
Bad Bunny is doing a great job. I just heard from Triple H today on his phone call that Bad Bunny's at the PC like all the time working, and he's actually putting in some serious work to get good.
Actually, I can clarify some things there. He's hanging out with
me. Oh God, Damian Priest, what are you doing
I'm sorry.
here?
I heard you say Bunny, and I wanted to clarify. That's all.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Mr. Priest. How is Bad Bunny doing at the PC?
He's doing really good. He's having a good time. He's working out really strong, all of that stuff. He's
got a
fitting
good
in really
working
well.
punch. He's got a good working punch, I got to say, Mr. Priest.
Does.
Yeah, you taught him well. Yeah. Can you give me any insights on Logan Paul? Do you think that he's going to have a good match at WrestleMania? Will he be involved physically in any way at WrestleMania? Do you think?
I hope not. That guy.
Well, thank you for coming by, Mr.
Anytime.
Priest. We really appreciate you being here. So, all right, at the end of this, dude, I have to say, with Sammy and KO, obviously just them having a match, I'm excited, especially them having a match at WrestleMania. Fantastic. Felt like it was coming too quickly, Nick. But after this and seeing how much Sammy has slowly built up his descent into madness, and then the way that Kevin's just reacting to that, I think they somehow in 2 weeks really made an interesting, cool story here. And I've got to say, like, I'm really happy with, as simple and straightforward and kind of fast as they put this together, it's actually turning into a pretty cool angle, and I can't wait to see this match.
I think the interesting. So I want to read one from Kyle because I agree with him. It's threw 100 bits in. Thank you, Kyle. Said this segment made me realize that Sami Zayn is basically the reincarnation of Andy Kaufman. This was my favorite segment of the night. That's one thing I wanted to touch on, was that this performance art that we're getting out of Sami Zayn, that we kind of just panned a little bit when he was doing it with Cesaro and Shinsuke last year. Like,
you panned it. I dug it then,
I know
too.
you dug it, right? But this whole Liberator thing that he's taken on, this Fidel Castro-esque type of gimmick that he's taken on, like, I've really come around on it. This might be some of the best work of his career.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that they did a real trailer for this documentary that's actually going to be on Fight TV, I believe, or something like that.
Some of the cuts they had were just hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah, it looks phenomenal. I'm very curious to see what they put together here.
But kudos to Sami for this kind of work. Slicking his hair back, putting on a rainbow jacket, absolutely. I'm really fun. I absolutely want to have a Sami Zayn conspiracy podcast.
Yeah,
that needs to be a
Sami
thing.
Sammy coming out with that
by Bo
jacket,
Dallas.
getting some serious drip going. But speaking of serious drip, Seth Rollins came out in a cotton candy sky suit. That is actually the name of the pattern. It was my TV started smoking when it came out, and they couldn't quite handle the colors. Seth has apparently gone from having the drip of wrestling gear to the drip of actual like clothes. And he came out and had a little thing in the ring with Cesaro where Corey Graves was kind of interviewing both of them at the same time, and Cesaro kept making really bad swing puns and being very cringy in general, and Seth kept being kind of annoying and abrasive. And finally, they both just went their separate ways. They got nose to nose. Cesaro said, "Swing away," as another way to joke about the Cesaro swing. Just, hey, it's like he's saying punch me, but also saying swing because he's in Seth's head. This was boneheaded. This was so stupid. But I got to say, when it comes to Seth Rollins' character, Nick, I'm kind of coming around on it because he's having so much fun with it. And it's not this dour, serious character that he was with the Rey Mysterio feud. He's coming around to being very big and flamboyant, and the flamboyance is really working for this obnoxious new take on the character.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice evolution of what we had last year in the Mysterio's feud to where it is now, and he's having more fun with it. Listen, this match is going to be hot fire. I'm looking forward to it. These two guys aren't going to put on a bad match ever, but I don't feel like there's that much heat between them. I want it to be, there needs to be like 2 more turns of the knob up on the heat, on the hot fire meter for me to be excited about the build for it. But the match is going to be fantastic. We're going to all just be sitting there going, oh my God, look at these guys work. Right.
Absolutely. No, the 2 of the best workers in WWE, but I completely agree. The burner is not set to the right temperature on this yet. And just having this little segment end with a fizzle instead of a pop, I think just made it worse. A couple more things we got to get out of SmackDown. Apollo Crews cut a promo backstage saying that he's challenging Big E to a Nigerian jump fight.
I'm scared to ask what that is.
Which is, he said it was just, basically the way he described it, it's just a no-holds-bar match.
Okay.
It's
I'm
no
sorry,
rules.
what kind of match is it again, Surrey and Dangerous?
A Nigerian jump fight was what I heard.
What was it kind of like?
Kind of like a no-holds-barred match.
That one.
Yeah. I refuse to do the Macho Man impression for this. I refuse. I'm not doing it. Because it's not a no-holds-barred match. It's a Nigerian jump fight.
I thought a jump fight was what gangs did when they jumped you into the gang. When he said jump fight, I was like, oh, that's not good.
I'm beyond judging it. I'm like, okay, fine. It is what it is. He's still out here, Wakanda forevering every time he opens his mouth. Fine. Okay. Hey, you know what? He is going out there and he's cutting promos in a way that I know from decades of watching the product that it's giving Vince McMahon exactly what he wants. This is the kind of promo Vince McMahon wants from his big gimmick characters. So you know what? As far as that's concerned, awesome. He's doing the right thing to get over in Vince McMahon's eyes. And to that I say good. When you say it's basically going to be no rules, 2 guys beating the crap out of each other. I don't care what the hell it's called. It's Big E and Apollo Crews with no holds barred. fine. Put it in my eye holes.
So Chad is correcting us, saying that it's a Nigerian drum fight, not a jump
fight. Because right, okay, that would make more sense because he was saying it's the sound of cracking bones and my tears falling as I raise my victory trophy. And okay, Nigerian drum fight, Nigerian jump fight, Nigerian junk fight, Nigerian skunk fight.
Cool.
I don't care. It's gonna no holds barred.
Yeah.
All the trappings they put on Apollo right now. As long as he gets over with Vince, as long as he gets put in matches where he kicks ass, you know what? Fine. Fine.
Nigerian drunk fight. Did you say that? Troy, I want to shout out to Troy over on YouTube. He said, break out the Bacardi 151.
That'll be me while I'm watching this
pouring
match.
it into my eyes.
Yeah. No, this will be. I want to watch this match, but I definitely every time he opens his mouth, I do want to have a Nigerian drunk fight. Get me drunk.
Will James throwing 100 bits said Cesaro is a well-known dad joker. This seems really genuine to me. All right. I don't know if I want it to be used to build heat between him and Seth Rollins. It feels like it's a shrug off in a way. And I get the intention and all of that, but I want this to I want to dial this up a couple notches.
That's the second feud in the same night where it just you end the segment with a wet fart instead of a big massive explosion of
like what they did
joy.
last week where he confronts it, he pounds him into the roadie cases backstage and swings him 20 times.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff. I want to see some pull apart
I'm here
brawls.
for violence.
Yes,
I'm here watching wrestling for violence. I'm not here to watch two guys make puns
and dad jokes, right?
Yeah, and sometimes that's fine, but more on the energy, violence.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said Becky is cruel for letting Seth leave the house like that. If she has any love for that man, she will burn all his ugly suits before he gets home. Also, I don't think I've seen someone fall from the main event scene harder than Seth since The Miz after 27.
Yeah, it's an interesting trajectory for Seth right now. But as far as the suits, I think that's the only reason. I think that's why she let him out of the house. He's like, I'm gonna wear this. She goes, get out of here.
Get out.
Just get out. Get out.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Kyle.
She's already had his baby. He's stuck with it. She's stuck with him now. He's wearing the you had my baby drip.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that's right. I'm your baby daddy. He's stuck with me now. I wear whatever I want. Yeah.
Well, the last thing we got to talk about here is King Corbin showed up to talk about why he showed up on Monday night, and
which I have to say only one thing, Nick. This week on AEW Dynamite, we have to talk about many things. Let's go talk about AEW Dynamite.
Nicely done. Nicely done. The thing we want to talk about here at the top is the Arcade Anarchy, and holy smokes. Shifting gears from what was Smackdown to something that was, oh my goodness.
I gotta get out of my pickup truck and get in my clown car. This was just night and day different from what we saw in WWE this week. They definitely had crazy, goofy gimmick matches, just not ones where there was as much irony and winking.
Right.
This is definitely the hipster of gimmick matches. Yep. And you know what? I'm not mad at that. Wax my mustache. Give me a nice latte with some, organic cocoa beans. This is what I want. This was a lot of fun. It was dumb. It was also smart, and it was fun. Absolute chaos. People getting put through things. Kip Sabian getting put through the back of a whack-a-mole set and then getting his head whacked with the mallet.
Well, before we talk about the craziness of the match, we have to talk about Orange Cassidy and Chucky T coming out to the Pixies.
Yeah, it was announced last week that they had bought the rights to Where Is My Mind for Orange Cassidy, and I didn't want to comment on it until I heard him come out with it. And now I've heard him come out with it, and they won the match at the end. We'll talk about how in a second, but they did win the match, so it played out the show. Dynamite went to black. It went off the air to the sound of Where Is My Mind. One of my favorite Pixies songs. I think everyone, who likes the
Everybody's
Pixies
heard that
song.
in some movie at some point.
Sure. They've heard it somewhere. And it's a great song. Is it a wrestling entrance song? You know what? It didn't.
I wasn't mad at it.
Suck. it didn't suck to take the show out, but I hear it, I don't exactly go like, yes, it's Orange Cassidy. Oh, it's awesome.
Right.
It's
no glass shatter.
It's no glass shatter. But maybe that's the point. Maybe we're overthinking this. Maybe it's just supposed to be like, it's Orange Cassidy. All right. It's, and maybe it's supposed to make you just feel kind of like, yay, I guess I'm happy. There's a match. Okay. Maybe that's the point.
Maybe.
If so, well played. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. Maybe it'll come around on me, but it didn't blow my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But there was one thing that did blow my mind, because at a certain point in the match, Penelope Ford got herself involved with her weird top that made her boobs look all like they were wall-eyed.
Okay, JR.
She got involved, and I'm just I'm I'm just going to throw this out here. I have heard from our resident wardrobe expert, JB, that this was like the worst thing that she saw all week. So I had to throw a little shout out to it here.
Nice.
That being said, she got involved, but didn't realize that her actions would have consequences. Out of the alien drop claw machine came an alien herself, coming back from injury. Nick's very favorite, Kris Statlander. Amazing.
Yes.
Came out and just did absolutely destroyed Penelope Ford, put her through a air hockey machine on the outside. Fan-freaking-tastic. She looks great. She's back. Kris is back, and actually joined up with the Best Friends after the match. Officially made so on Twitter. She is a member of the Best Friends now, which I think that's a great faction. You're gonna have her in a faction. That's a great faction. She's weird. They're weird. They've been booping each other since day one in backstage videos. Fantastic.
It could only get better if like her and Orange Cassidy ended up in like as a kayfabe couple of some sort, and like the two of the weirdest people on the roster are madly in love with each other, and all they do is they give weird thumbs and they boop each other.
Rumors are that maybe more than kayfabe, but beyond that, also in the match, we had there. So on one side, you had a whole bunch of like gimmicked stuff, like a big board of wrestling implements that you could get for like way too many tickets, like you would see in an arcade, including a trash can lid and a kendo stick, and the same. All of them were utilized. It was a lot of fun.
Miro even picked up an entire cabinet at one point and hucked it at, I believe it was Orange Cassidy.
Well, that's the thing. So the other side, you had a whole bunch of actual real arcade cabinets, including an OG Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct 2, original Mario Brothers 1, Space Invaders 1. I saw Pac-Man. I saw Primal Rage.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which took me back. And there was another one that looked like a Donkey Kong one. I couldn't quite place which one it was. But there was also a mocked up Mortal Kombat one that was just obviously just a mocked up fake cabinet. And that's
a particle board or some shit. He just picked it up and hooks it around. Love it.
Yeah, that was fabricated. But at one point, Miro's beating down Orange Cassidy and Chucky T. They're crawling away up the ramp, and off in the distance, you see a pair of car lights come on. What's that, you say? As we pan back to them, the car starts rushing at them. The announcers are wondering, are they going to get hit by this car? No, it comes to a screeching halt. It's a white minivan. Oh my God, it's Sue! Out of the back climbs Trent Beretta. He leans down, gets a kiss from Mama, and it goes to work. Oh. Trent's back as well. So we have two returns for the price of one in the middle of this match. At this point, Miro was able to hold off them for a little bit, but ultimately succumbed to a spear through the table by Trent. Chucky T power bombed Kip Sabian off of the top of the stage onto some tables. 1, 2, 3, and the Best Friends again win a big gimmick match on Dynamite. Seems to be their thing. Whether it's a street fight or a gimmick match of any kind, they win these matches. So another very creative, very fun match. So I guess the only thing I have got coming out of this, it was great. I'm glad Trent's back. Hope he does some big, maybe him and Miro continue their feud. But do you feel like Miro needs to extricate himself from Kip Sabian? And if he's going to be taken seriously, like he's still being booked like a monster, but he's kind of still in this like lower mid card area. He doesn't really feel like a big deal yet.
I think it's the only thing keeping him afloat, honestly. So to counter your point, I don't know that he would survive in the loaded, stacked roster that exists in the singles card or roster right now for AEW. I think that's the thing that's keeping him somewhat relevant is his activities with kids. So it's a weird catch-22 that he's in. Yes, I absolutely, to your point, would love to see him break away and have some kind of singles run for a title. Maybe go get Darby for the TNT. That would be fun to see Darby kind of get away from that big monster. But I think it's the thing until that actually happens. I think it's the thing that's keeping him afloat. Brian Cage, great example here. We could rip Brian Cage away, and we kind of maybe are. We don't know yet. Pulling Brian Cage away from Team Taz. But I'm sitting here going, what's he actually going to do? Because Kenny's white hot right now. They're not like the top of the AEW card is set for the next 6+ months.
You know, it's really funny every time we do this Friday show, Nick, and we always do SmackDown, we do AEW, and we do NXT. NXT always seems to be around the same length, and SmackDown this week went a little bit long, but we tend to get through SmackDown pretty quickly. But it's what we do is talk about the main 2 angles and really just kind of vent on those. AEW is always really hard to get through because there's just so much going on in every angle down the card. There's a lot of details going on. There's a lot of, all these guys, I called them, low mid-carders here a second ago. They closed the show. They were the main event. And that's got guys that, relatively speaking, when I think of the hierarchy of AEW, I don't think of any of these guys as being anywhere near a title picture.
Former PWG champions, you've got former WWE title holders in the mix here.
Former New Japan
tag champs.
Yeah.
You've got some pedigree here, and that's the hard. Those aren't even the top guys.
No. But they're still main eventing the show. It makes AEW a brand that's really interesting to cover because they really do have a lot going on every level. So when you have guys like Brian Cage or Miro, there's a lot you theoretically could do with them in the mid card. But just there's so many people as well that they want to give time to that sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. And that's wild to think about.
I think that's why we have Elevate. I think that's why we have Dark. I think that's why we have Dark. I think that's why we have Elevate now, and we're getting so much crossover and tie-in with BTE. I expect there to be other programs that come along down the road. I love the fact that they are sort of expanding their universe a little bit more. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a second show on TNT at some point within the next couple of years.
And I think one of the reasons is that it does feel like this is more a company that's trying to put out stories as opposed to put out content. Yep. They're getting a lot of content because they're starting with the basis of let's create a whole bunch of stories or angles, and then the content comes secondary. Yeah. It feels that way, at least. It also feels that way when you consider the Chris Jericho and Inner Circle story, unless we need to
we do. I hate to cut your segue there, but we got to catch up a little bit. Abe threw in 1,000 bits.
Ooh!
1,000 bits.
Thank you, Abe.
Said, and that's for not talking about Baron King Corbin.
Who?
Exactly. Also giving this as a thank you for Discord. When I have questions, need a laugh, or just feel encouraged in certain areas, Orbital Jigsaw hooks it up. So thank you. Also, Statlander looks awesome. Yes. I completely agree. I am Ian. So I didn't watch it. Ian and I were working on something on Thursday, and then I finally got around to watching it last night after we were done. And he says, "You're going to know when you see it." And I think it was around midnight or so last night.
Something good happened.
I sent you a text. I was like, "Oh my God, she's back!" Oh, I've been waiting. She looks great. I love that. It's very smart. I never saw it coming, putting her with best friends, but it's actually perfect. Thank you very much, Abe, for the 1,000 bits, man.
Thank you.
Divian threw in 100 bits. Said Chris has been a hoot on the YouTube stuff.
Yes, she has. Yep. She gets it.
Thank you, Mr. Divian. Will James throwing 100 bits says paper screen saying tokens made me crack. Yeah, the one he picked up and threw.
Yeah, just some tokens on it. There's also much of the stuff which is handwritten. Like they didn't get all of the amounts of tokens that you needed to have to buy like the trash can lid. They didn't have it printed. They just like drew it backstage with a Sharpie.
Oh, we also need to talk about, I don't know that we called it out. There were Lego in this match.
Oh, yes, the Lego spot. There were so many spots this match, and we don't have that much time left, Nick. We got a lot to talk about, not a lot of time. This match has had so many spots. It's fun. It's worth a watch.
Esme threw in 100 bits, said this match ruled ass.
Gimmick match. Yeah.
Finishing your show on a high note. Match. Lovely, absolutely. And I, especially with them hugging in the middle, I didn't mind. That's where I didn't mind going off air to the Pixies. I thought that was kind of Kind of poetic in a way. Esme threw in another 200 bits. Thank you very much. Said, my sister and I watch AEW every week, something we haven't done since the Attitude Era. AEW is hitting their stride. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a minute there where, Nick, we were saying, like, we're very blessed. All the wrestlings are putting out the good shows. Right now, man, this build to WrestleMania, WWE is stumbling very hard. It's hard to watch their stuff right now. I feel like this week's AEW might have been one of the most perfect Dynamites they've put on in a while. It was really, really good front to back. NXT, I thought, was a bit of a misfire as a go-home show, but still with a lot of good stuff. But yeah, it's amazing how superlative I thought AEW did this week. And I try to, I mean, again, we're not taking sides in anything, just so no one flames us on social media. Just calling it as I see it. AEW put out a very entertaining product this week. Full stop.
Absolutely.
They had a little bit of everything. They covered all their bases. We had technical wrestling matches. We had really good, interesting angles. We had some character work. We had betrayals. We had returns. We had blood a few times. We had some very standard, like, classic style wrestling matches that guys like Jim Cornette, old school dudes, would love. And we had some crazy new wave flying all over the place spot fests that he would hate. Like, this was a complete wrestling show. And as I said, Chris Jericho and Inner Circle was a part of that because they showed back up as MJF and the Pinnacle were celebrating in their locker room. Now, it was formerly Inner Circle's dressing room. MJF goes to go to the bathroom, and hilariously, all of Inner Circle is in there minus Jake Hager, just standing there waiting for an open the door. He does like the great double take.
They're doing he's grinding his fist thing.
They're all like rubbing they're smacking their hands together. It's like, and he just shuts the door and goes, "We got to go now." And he goes and runs towards the other door. The exit, opens it. Jake Hager standing out there, decks him, throws him back into the room, and the Inner Circle comes out of the bathroom, and they all just fall on the Pinnacle, and there's just a massive brawl. Sammy Guevara puts Sean Spears through a door. At one point, you see Dax get hit in the head with some sort of wood panel, like cloth-colored wood. I couldn't figure out what it was at the time, but I guess it really lacerated him because he was bleeding everywhere. Took a bunch of stitches after this match after this beatdown. Brawl. Cash gets put into an ice bath. They just all get beat to shit. Wardlow gets slammed through a massage table. Ow. Pinnacle just gets wrecked. Inner Circle is back. This feud's going on. It's a blood feud. I'm
here for it.
Great,
all day.
Great. And at the end, as we said at the top of the show, Jericho did put MJF's head through a glass refrigerator door, saying, "The worst is yet to come."
Sir Ian Dangerous, chat has kicked off a hype train, so I got to call out some stuff real quick.
Thank you,
Limited
guys.
time.
Sweet.
You guys got 3 minutes to get some exclusive emotes if you want to throw in some bits and qualify for those. Thank you guys very much for pushing us over the edge. It's Mel D threw in 1,000 bits and just a few bits to show my appreciation for the great content. Thank you so much, Mel.
Thanks very much. Very much appreciate that.
Much obliged. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, "I loved everything about the Inner Circle and Pinnacle on AEW Wednesday. The surprise opening a door backstage and getting a random surprise was one of my favorite things from the Ruthless Aggression era, and getting some of that in AEW really made me smile."
I literally went, "Ha!" out loud when they did that.
Was that a wink nudge at the forbidden door?
Great
maybe?
shot. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't. Now you're stretching.
Yeah.
Now you're stretching.
Will James threw in 1,000 bits. God, just for the hype train. Thank you very much, Will. Mr. Divian threw in 300 bits for the hype train. Thank you very much, Divian. Esme threw in 300 bits for the hype train. Here's some handsome bits for the handsome boys. Thank you very much, Esme.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy. I hope you guys get all your emotes.
Wait, you know what we should do? We should get one of those really, really horrible train sounds like Braun Strowman has now every time we get a hype train.
Yeah. Just a steam horn. Yeah.
I mean, if he's got a sound effect, why not us? Right?
I'll have to see if I can do that.
Passing out sound effects.
Right.
Come on.
Jesse O'Connor threw in 500 bits, said, "I'm back. Haven't been live with y'all in a long while." You showed up at the right time, Jesse. Hype train. Thank you very much for the bits. Mr. Divian resubscribed with a Twitch Prime for 8 months. That means you get some. Good. Chicken. Thank you very much. Oh, you're about to push into level 4 as well. All right, let's keep going, Ian. We got a lot of wrestling to talk about here.
Yes, we do. We got to talk about the Nightmare Family. QT Marshall had an exhibition match with Cody Rhodes, and he got the jobber treatment. He was just in the ring when Cody did his big old entrance, so he was getting insulted off the bat. Cody doesn't even see that it's happening. I love the little details like that. That just Cody doesn't even see what a dick he's being to QT Marshall. Well, he paid the price, the iron price, if you know what I mean.
I do.
So this match was basically what I think we kind of expected, which was QT Marshall trying to wrestle Cody, getting completely out wrestled by Cody, and Cody just wouldn't hit him. He wouldn't put the finishing move on him. He wouldn't try to put the figure 4 on him. And QT finally just got fed up and punched Arn Anderson. The referee just decked Arn out of nowhere, jumped out of the ring. All of the Nightmare Family was ringside. Billy Gunn and his kids and Anthony Ogogo and all of the students, right? That huge ass bloated faction that Nick, I think you'll recall, you and I agreed was getting too ridiculously big. Yeah. Like it was getting ridiculous. Another person joins the Nightmare Family. Another person joins the Nightmare Family. They're just too big. They're not doing anything with them.
I couldn't list the entire roster of the Nightmare Family if you had a gun to my head. You know?
Well, we definitely couldn't because it would take too long. We got to rip through the show. But the point of the matter is,
I love how QT sold this outside the ring as one of those reactionary things, like, "Oh God, what have I done?
I can't believe I hit Arn Anderson. Yeah. What have I done? What have I done? I'm just going to turn my back and think about it." And as he turns his back, all the members of the Nightmare, like half the Nightmare Family, were up close to the ring ropes. They'd all gotten in the ring. They were up yelling at him, and half of the Nightmare Family turned on the other half. Anthony Ogogo, Aaron Solo, Big Nick Comoroto.
Ooh, that's a big boy.
All grabbed. That's a big boy. They all grabbed chairs and laid into the rest of the Nightmare Family. Dustin Rhodes, of course, got busted open because he's Dustin Rhodes, and when in doubt, he's going bleed.
He looks like GOAT Daniel Bryan's final evolution. Right? It's just like a big jacked version of Daniel Bryan with a huge beard and huge hair.
Who are you talking about now?
The big dude in the
Comoroto?
white shirt. I don't remember. I don't know who's who.
Comoroto, you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he looks like if Bruiser Brody ever did roids or something. If he started eating some real steaks.
Definitely has the Bruiser look going on.
But that's neither here nor there. What's here is the fact that they laid out everybody, and right as QT gave a sit down pile driver to Dustin Rhodes on the top of some metal stairs that Comoroto threw up on the ring, and at the end, as they're about to kill Cody, out comes Velvet Sky to save Cody. The Brandy Rhodes. She's now officially wannabe Brandy Rhodes.
Diet Brandy.
If you diet Brandy, yeah, she's the Brandy Rhodes you got at home.
Except she can actually wrestle. Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so anyway, Nightmare Family breaks up. QT Marshall actually we now have 2 factions. Nick, they did it. They listen. We were complaining Nightmare Family was too big. It was bloated. They got to do something with it. And we were wondering what QT Marshall was going to do if he turned heel. We did not see this coming. Cut the Nightmare Family in half. QT Marshall takes some of his students with him, lays out a few of his other ones. Brilliant. Brilliant. Nightmare Family faction civil war.
Dustin Rhodes took a spot where he basically just rolled out of the ring, and of course they cut back to him, and he's bleeding.
He's bleeding. Oh no! If you breathe on him too hard,
right.
So this was great. I think I was in the middle of writing my notes and I was too excited. I had to watch the rest of the segment because my note just kind of cuts off there. But the bottom line that I was going for with this is what needed to happen with this faction. There's starting to become some criticism. There's too many factions in AEW, to which I say there can never be too many factions. I love this.
I love the Civil War concept. I think it's great. It's going to make for some excellent TV over the course of the next year. The matches you can dream up between the two sides of this, it could make its own wrestling show, frankly.
And it gives more time for the younger guys in both factions, the people that they're trying to get over, like Solo, like Ogogo, like Comoroto, like both of Billy Gunn's kids, right? So there's a lot of people that they want to get over at once. This is a great way to do it. Now you have a reason for them all to fight. Yeah. It's good stuff. fantastic.
The chat's going nuts over here. We're up to level 5 on this hype train. I
my
don't
God.
even know how to catch up at this point.
Catch it.
I love all of you guys. I'm going to try to read the ones that are messages real quick. Will James threw in 1,000 bits and said, "Was there enough build for this Nightmare Family Civil War, or was this Cody has to have a child, or even a blood and guts build?"
I don't know if there's a blood and guts build in this. I still feel like blood and guts is going to be Inner Circle versus Pinnacle, or maybe they have a bunch of blood and guts
Maybe
matches.
they have two.
I don't know.
With the Nightmare Family Civil War and Inner Circle versus Pinnacle. Yeah, I'm there for that.
Maybe. And then, the Young Bucks and Moxley versus.
What if they actually did a pay-per-view where there were no titles on the line and it was all just blood feuds?
I'm in.
Yes.
And everyone believes.
Yes.
Every match there's
yes.
blood. Done. Sold.
Let's see. Sheppy threw in 100 bits, said, "Gonna listen live while my son and I wait for him to be admitted to the hospital for a bad stomach bug." Oh no. Need a little levity right now. How dare QT lay hands on Arn Anderson? That was my reaction. Like, oh no, he didn't just punch Arn Anderson. Really?
It was a great entrance, and then the
goes
horror.
down.
Yeah, and then the horror of everyone falling apart.
Right.
It was a great swerve. Yeah. It was fantastic.
It caught me off guard for sure. Let's see. Will James doing 100 bits said, "And Hardy Office versus Dark Order."
Oh, that's coming.
Yep.
We talk about that in a second.
We'll get there. Kyle throwing 100 bits said, "Watch AEW's second show get called AEW Nightmare because Cody is apparently as big as NWO." So you've got Elevation, Dynamite, and Nightmare.
I love that. It's part of Cody's gimmick that he's a narcissist at this point. It's great. I love the extra level of that, self-awareness of that. That's part of his character.
And I want to give one big group hug call out to everybody that's throwing in bits for the hype train. You guys rock.
Seriously.
Thank you so much. Love you guys. We just don't. Well, there's so many. You guys are amazing.
Are blowing it up. I love it.
We're gonna throw in 200 bits and said, "Show us the puppy." the puppy's in bed already. It's midnight here, almost.
Now I know how Tori Wilson felt in the late 90s. Show us the puppies.
Thank you guys so much. JB threw in 100 bits, said, "For good Brad Shepherd's son. Feel better."
Aww.
Thank you, JB.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep rolling because we're behind. There's a lot I want to talk about on NXT still.
Even the sheriff threw in 300 and said, "Here, take my money."
Oh, my God. And he changed his name to Sheriff McDonald. Sheriff?
He did. Esme says, "It's International Beer Day. Cheers." I don't have a beer in front of me.
It is International Beer Day today? It's Good Friday. How can it be also International Beer Day?
Esme also threw in 300 to say, "Hope that Sheppy's boy recovers quickly."
Oh, my God. I couldn't catch up. You guys are...
Yeah. I got a couple. Oh, and Abe, of course, threw in 100, said, "Someone said puppies?" And, oh, my God. Will James threw 1,000 more, said, "Need to complete it. You animal. You animal."
Oh, you guys are insane. Thank you so much.
The train has run the rest of the show off the tracks entirely, and I'm not mad at it.
Not mad at it at all.
I'm not mad at it at all.
You guys, thank you so. And they complete the level 5 hype train. Look, you guys are insane. Thank you so much for all of the love. Enjoy the special emotes that you're about to receive. It's a good time. Be sure and use those. Spam them in the chat. Show us all the fun emotes that you get. Because that's not anything I control. That's completely randomized by Twitch. So you guys might get some really cool ones. But make sure and share them with us. Okay.
Now I want to go get a beer or something. I'm sweating after that hype train.
I'm literally misty. Like I'm damp. Is that the right? I'm moist.
I'm moist.
I'm very moist.
Okay, speaking of moist, John Moxley got very moist in his match against Cesar Bononi. Good Lord, Nick, I'm so disturbed now. There goes that desire for beer. Cesar Bononi, he even had Nick Nemeth.
Hot Young Briley.
Nick Nemeth. Hot Young Briley was ringside, as well as JD Drake. Didn't matter. Numbers didn't matter at all. Moxley gave a nice big paradigm shift to Nemeth, and he also he choked out Bononi afterwards. He said he would. He had cut a great promo before this, saying he was irritated by the fact that Kingston had his leg broken by the Good Brothers. He was irritated the Good Brothers. He hated the fact the Young Bucks wouldn't really choose a side with them. He was irritated by his skin still being burnt and cut from barbed wire. He was just in a bad mood. So he said someone's going to get poked on their head, bonked on their head, and then choked out. He did it, and he did it. He's a man of his word. But then he also came out after the absolutely fantastic Kenny Omega and Good Brothers versus Pentagon Jr., Phoenix, and Laredo Kid match Remember when I said that they had a big old flippy, crazy spot match? There it was. They just casually threw out a 4.5-star match. Unreal.
With little
in the
to
middle
no
of the rest of
effort.
the stuff.
That's what you get from that group of guys.
Unreal. But the point there wasn't the fact that you had this awesome lucha versus, I don't even know what you'd call it, but Good Brothers like Bruisers.
Yeah. And
then Kenny Omega is kind of a hybrid. It was an awesome match. But that wasn't the point. The point was that afterwards you had Moxley and Young Bucks come out, face off with the Good Brothers, Kenny Omega. Things came to a head. Earlier, Don Callis had slapped Matt Jackson in the face. Matt sucked it down, didn't slap him back. And Callis said, you disgust me. What happened to you? So
they
the
made
Young
some
Bucks
kind of
are now
slight about
fired
his
up.
dad or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, there was a Callis just talked smack, and Matt just didn't do anything. Just sucked it up. Nick walked away. Matt just sucked it up. Very
I want to hear
interesting.
what I take away from this match. I want to hear what you think about Mox teaming up with the Bucks. That caught me off guard.
So it does, and next week we're getting Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Moxley and the Bucks, a match which could headline a pay-per-view.
Yes.
That's a pay-per-view match.
In the
And
Tokyo
they're giving
Dome,
it away,
that's a 5-star match.
Which that's a 6-star.
That's a 6.5, Meltzer.
That's a 6.9. Nice. But this makes me wonder if there's something else going on. The Bucks are just kind of there right now. And there's all of this mental torment and anguish that they're being put through by Don Callis. When do they snap? When do they break? Do they break because Moxley pushes them over the edge, and then that's one more thing distracting Moxley from going after Kenny Omega, which he needs more things to distract him? I mean, how long do you have Moxley going after Kenny without having him get the title back?
Do we do some kind of weird double turn down the road here where Moxley ends up taking Callis hostage and tortures him in order to get to Kenny?
Shocked he hasn't done it already.
Right. I could see something. That's some Nick booking shit. I would totally book that. Because Moxley's crazy enough to do it. The Bucks aren't, but they would probably go along with it because they don't like him either. What if that's what this is building to?
And I wonder, whose side the Bucks are going to end up being on if there's another swerve in our future next week, or how this is going to break down.
Don't forget, guys, we're less than 2 months away from Double or Nothing. We're about 6 weeks away.
But here's the thing. So it's interesting. Once again, Kenny Omega pins Laredo Kid.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has he pinned
Poor
him
guy.
now? I almost feel like he's pinned. Well, but I feel like Laredo Kid's going to come back and take that AAA championship off him.
Yeah.
Like that's when he's cashing in. Kenny's going to owe him after all this. That's kind of made me think about that. But the thing that I'm wondering about Moxley is how often can he have these interactions with Kenny? How, the way that the Moxley character, he's relentless. He's eventually going to come back and he's going to get you. Right? But that's not the best story to be told with Kenny Omega being the champion.
No, because we haven't gotten to that part yet.
Right.
Hang on.
And Hangman Page,
hats.
Hangman wasn't even on the show this week.
Yeah. That's what's coming.
So
that's what this is setting up, in my opinion.
That's why I'm curious why what kind of smoke and mirrors are we throwing in this soap opera?
This is a distraction to bring Hangman in at some point.
But then what do you do with Mox?
He'll be
that's
fine.
kind of my point.
He'll be fine.
Oh, I know he'll be fine, but what do you do to distract him? Who does he have to go fight?
I'm not sure. Who do
you got to elevate somebody because who was on his level?
Miro.
Well, but that's my point. Miro right now doesn't feel like he's within leagues of Moxley's level.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know.
You'd have to build him way the hell up.
There's plenty of characters there for Moxley to feud with. I'm not worried about him at all.
But they need to build another monster.
I agree.
And right now, we don't have a monster that's on Moxley's level anymore.
Yep.
To distract him.
Brian said Lance Archer. That's a good one.
Lance is farting around with Sting right now. And he hasn't been Lance Archer since the very first TNT Championship tournament.
True.
Brian Cage is busy farting around Team Taz. They're having troubles in Team Taz. He and Ricky Starks are still being a couple of housewives of Florida. I don't like you very much. Me. So yeah, I don't know what you do. Maybe Christian has something to do with it. Christian Cage had his match with Frankie Kazarian. It opened the show. I thought it was an interesting choice to open the show because it was not one of the crazy fast-paced matches. This was an old school, two dudes, lots of psychology. No, there were some big flashy moves. We had a Spanish Fly at the end. They built up to some big stuff at the end.
Yep. Big superplex spot too, I believe.
A couple of big spots towards the end, but you certainly wouldn't call this like a spot fest. No. You certainly wouldn't call this a fast-paced match.
This was two dudes that this was the kind of wrestling match that I kind of had forgotten that I enjoyed, and I was surprised to see it on Dynamite. But it looked like two guys that are still wrestling like they were 15 years ago. It's
two guys who know exactly what the hell they're doing in that ring.
Yep.
I mean, this was a professional wrestling match.
Indeed.
Very pro. And what was so that meant that when they were telling us a story, I took them at what they meant that they were doing intentionally.
Yeah.
So when they told me the story that Christian Cage has lost a step, that for the first half to 2/3 of this match, Kazarian just had his number, and the only way that Christian won was just by just hanging in there, and Kazarian just couldn't put him away for whatever reason.
Finally got an opportunistic.
Yep. He kept trying for the kill switch. He kept trying for the kill switch, just couldn't hit it. Finally, Kazarian just left himself open. He hit the kill switch. It was all over. That didn't make Christian look like he should be going up against top guys. It made him look like he had ring rust. Now, what's crazy is these guys are so good, they told a story about how one guy's got ring rust, even though he doesn't have ring rust. Like he had to not have ring rust to tell this story.
That's true.
It shows how damn good both these guys are. True. It made for a match you really had to sit and invest in, because it's really easy to get caught up in Lego spots and
arcade
flips and
games
flops
and Sue's minivan and all that stuff. Yeah.
So maybe that's why they put this first, was because if you put this after any of those other matches on the show, this is going to die.
Yeah.
You had
all the air out of the balloon.
Right. You had a story match with QT and Cody. This was a story match that was just told through wrestling. Yeah. So definitely, I thought it was an exemplary match. Not the most exciting way to start the show, but if you
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
But if you let yourself get invested in it, you had to want to watch this match.
Yeah, 15 years ago, this is a main event on a pay-per-view,
Yeah.
Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits. Said, "Can we please get a trios title?" I would not be surprised if they brought something like that, especially with the New Japan pedigree that these guys have.
I may be going crazy, but I believe the last time Tony was asked about that, he said Q2, Q3 of 2021 was when they were going to look at that. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Nice.
I think it's on their radar for sure, as it should be, because with all these factions, that's what you have a trios title for.
Exactly.
It's why you have
Thank you, Jay. Kyle gifted a tier 1 sub to It's Mel D. All right. Mel D got her a little piece of chicken. Mel, you can build that up over the course of 3 and 6 months, and you get a bucket of chicken. You might see some people with the bucket of chicken badge in there.
Nice.
That's what it's about. Thank you very much, Kyle, and welcome to the sub club, Mel D. Kyle Cotton also cheered 100 bits, said shout out to Laredo Kid getting his AAA Cruiserweight title back from Leo Rush via the same way Pat Patterson won the Intercontinental title in Brazil.
Right. Yeah, Leo wasn't supposed to win that.
Yeah.
That was a big botch. But we don't have time to go into that. I wanted to talk about the fact that I think Christian's story here was that he's lost a step because the fans had a bad reaction to him when he first came to AEW. What he's going to do now is actually work on an angle where he redeems himself to the fans by showing that he is fighting up from having this ring rust. I think that might be the psychology there. If so, that's some 4D chess kind of shit, and I'm here for it. So love it. I also love the fact, Nick, that we have one more.
Thank you, Kyle. Jay threw in another 100 bits. Said I love the Christian Frankie match. Reminded me why I love these guys. Thank you, Jay. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Underrated. Massive. 2 underrated dudes going out there and showing why they are underrated.
Yes.
Why they should be overrated.
Absolutely.
So one more big thing and then a couple little things, and we're moving on out of AEW. But Nick, we had some stuff go on in the women's division. And what's interesting about this is they used the women's division to tell the story of a war between 2 factions. If that doesn't indicate that they are getting their heads screwed on straight with their women's division, I don't know what is. Bunny and Nyla Rose have a tag match with Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida. The Dark Order is out to represent Tay Conti and Shida because Matt Hardy's office, the Hardy office or the Hardy group, whatever the name they're calling themselves now, Matt Hardy's faction, they're out to support Nyla Rose and the Bunny. The Bunny, of course, who's a member of the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. Fine. Vicky Guerrero's out there, too. I wouldn't be mad at Nyla taking some money from Matt and joining that faction permanently, but hey, even a little mercenary work here, I'm not mad at it. It's the point of having a faction as well. Story here was that things broke down. You started off with a great women's match. Things broke down as you would expect. Big spots to the outside. Everyone goes tumbling down. Tay Conti gets a big crossbody to the outside. Sheeta gets a big crossbody to the outside. But ultimately, Bunny
on top of each other.
hookmakes everyone. Oh, it's big pancake. And then Bunny goes and gets a kendo stick, and when the ref isn't looking, smacks poor Tay Conti with it. Tay Conti goes down 1, 2, 3, and Matt Hardy group wins. Sort of Pyrrhic victory, but loved it. I love the fact that they are actually they used the women's division, and there was even mention of the fact that Tay Conti's number one contender to Hikaru Shida. So we got Nick in the middle of the women being the centerpiece of a faction feud, a dual faction feud. We also got a can they coexist storyline
that worked,
right? That worked because they didn't draw attention to it. Yeah. It wasn't it wasn't a shoved in your face. Oh my! It's the number one contender and the women's champion working together in a tag team. Everybody, look at it. Look at them working together. Can they coexist? Nope, none of that. They were just there together.
So refreshing.
Oh, it was refreshing. And they didn't even tease any tension. They just had the match together. So when ultimately there is some sort of tension that shows up, it's a surprise because we haven't seen it coming for a million goddamn years.
I want to echo something that Mr. Divian said in chat right there because I felt the exact same way. Finally, we're getting to see Bunny work a little bit. Allie is no joke, guys. Allie can go. Allie can work, and I'm excited to see her finally get in there and do some stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought this was fantastic. I completely agree with you. The faction versus faction. Here we go again. Right, we've got two other blood feud kind of faction wars going on, Pinnacle and Inner Circle. We've got the Nightmare Family Civil War thing going on. Now we got this with the Hardy family and Dark Order going on. Put it in my eye holes.
Bring me the faction
all
wars.
of this. I want all the faction wars. This is what we live for in pro wrestling.
Factions are great because they allow more talent to be on screen. They allow more talent to look cool. And get TV time, and it feels like a full lived-in world when you have this many people running around and having their own personalities. And to me, that creates a more interesting, engaging show. There's more going on besides just a shit ton of lasers.
That's a good way to put it, yes. Let's see. Esme threw in 100 bits, said, "This is the last of my bits. Tay Conti is killing it. Put the rockets on to the moon."
Yeah, Tay Conti, man. I remember we used to crap on her in NXT. No longer.
Nope. Nope.
Not at all. Nope. And then a couple of quick notes here before we move on out. Jade Cargill, still talking smack to Velvet Sky, had a great promo this week and also beat up Velvet Sky. Red Velvet.
Man,
why do I keep calling her Velvet Sky?
Because Velvet Sky in TNA in the knockouts was...
I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question. Red Velvet, and also because I hate Red Velvet cupcakes. I hate them. They're disgusting.
You're fired.
They're disgusting.
So fired.
They're filthy.
Ugh.
But Red Velvet, the wrestler, she's fine. She's great. She's just getting murdered by Jade Cargill right now. Darby and Sting had a little Darby Allin video where they said that we don't care about money, and Matt Hardy has a lot of money, so we don't care about Matt Hardy. Cool. Okay. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are joining up as a tag team. They feel like they're overlooked and disrespected. And I'm like, Ethan Page, you just got here. Scorpio Sky, you just were a singles guy to get out of a tag team, and now you're back in a tag team and doing a match on Elevation, and that's going to tell me that you're somehow not getting disrespected and overlooked? Hashtag AEW logic. We mentioned earlier that Team Taz is falling apart because Brian Cage and Ricky Starks are being a couple of little schoolgirls to each other. No offense to schoolgirls. Britt Baker came back to talk some more smack to Thunder Rosa, mocking her for not even getting the win officially because it was an unofficial match that they had. Yeah. So interesting that they're still having a feud. I would think that it would be over after that. How was that not a blow off? Holy crap. And then finally, Jurassic Express is going to get Bear Country next week. Yeah. I know you're excited about that, Nick. Lots of they had a little promo backstage, lots of animal puns. We found out that
they even stole the color scheme from the Godzilla versus Kong poster as the promo.
And we found out that Marco Stunt has a Kong tattoo on his forearm, and Luchasaurus was very
he was very upset at that. We're dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're dinosaurs. What are you doing? So, all in all, a very, very fun show. I have to say, I loved AEW this week. But you know what show was also very good, Nick? And we got to talk about it. We're going to have to jam through it, but we got to talk about it anyway because it's their go-home show to their pay-per-view. We got to talk about NXT.
Oh boy. Well, this show closed out. We're going to start at the end and work our way back. We ended NXT Wednesday night with the 12-man gauntlet eliminate. No, we had a battle royal, I should say, to determine who were going to be the 12-man battle royal to determine who the 6 guys in the gauntlet eliminator match on night 1 of Stand and Deliver to determine the number 1 contender to face Johnny Gargano on night 2 for the North American Championship. Holy
Take a breath. Take a breath. It's actually very simple. It's just very complex.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. 12-man battle royale.
How did I do? Did I get all that right?
I think you got it right. Yeah, 12-man battle royale. The final 6 people in the battle royale are the 6 people in the gauntlet match. And the order of elimination determines their order of entrance in the gauntlet match that we're going to have night 1 of Stand and Deliver. The winner of that gauntlet match faces Johnny Gargano night 2. So this all in all, a very, very fun match. Some twists before the match even started, though. Roderick Strong, right at the beginning of the show, had a match against Cameron Grimes. He lost that match because he got distracted by Cameron Grimes came out saying he wanted to buy the IP of the Undisputed Era and change it into like all Grimes kind of stuff.
Grimes, the system.
Yeah. And then at the end of the match, Grimes pulled an Undisputed Era armband out of his pants, and Roddy got distracted, so he ate a cave-in and lost the match. And he got so mad and pouty, he left.
He's back, guys. Pouty Roderick Strong is back.
Powderick Strong is back. He left. So it was 11-man battle royale, technically, when you come down to it. So he was gone. But in this match, we ultimately did have Dexter Lumis, Kushida, Leon Ruff, Pete Dunne, Jake Atlas, Tyler Rust, LA Knight, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, who doing double duty, Swerve Scott, and Austin Theory. We had Kushida and Pete Dunne eliminate each other, trying to out-submit each other because they had gotten into a little backstage interaction before where they were talking about who was the real best technical wrestler in the world. Now we know they're having a match at TakeOver. Give me that. Put it in my eye holes. Thank you. Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff got into it before the match even started. Austin Theory got tossed over the top but landed on his back in like a turtle position. And when the ref said, okay, you're not eliminated, he kipped up and eliminated himself. There went our pick to win the whole thing. Good Lord. So it came down to, at the end, you had, let me get my notes back here. I had a whole bunch of stuff. At the end, we had Leon Ruff. Then he got eliminated. Swerve Scott got eliminated right afterwards by Bronson Reed, who got eliminated next by all 3, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, and LA Knight. Grimes got tossed next, and then Lumis and Knight were the final 2. Lumis gets tossed over the top rope and lands on the apron. Knight decides to go out through the middle ropes trying for a spear, lands on the ground, and grabs Dexter Lumis's feet, pulls him off, eliminates him. Kind of a muff finish to the end, but at least afterwards there was some scuffles and LA Knight getting in Johnny Gargano's face. And then because they knew it wasn't a great finish, they had to have the entire women's locker room empty because we were having an ongoing feud between Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez all night, which was also amazing. Io Shirai basically at one point says, "You can't kill me," to Raquel Gonzalez, and proceeds to prove it by coming back like a horror movie villain over and over again all night long. It's like Raquel put her through a wall at one point, like a boarded up window.
I mean, it was just sheetrock. It was just sheetrock, but I mean, sure, yeah. It looked great.
It looked fit. She
and Raquel
picked her up
looking through the window,
hucked her through a wall into the dark dimension, and just like peered her head through, just jawing at her, mad dogging her. Like,
stay away from me.
Yeah,
it was like, here's Raquel.
So the show went out with with this big woman's feud and Io Shirai standing tall and freaking out because she'd finally taken out Raquel Gonzalez and the rest of the pile. So quite a bit of chaos there. Given the order, though, back to the 12-man match there. Given the order that we've got them going out, just a quick before we move on, what do you think of the 6 guys that we've got in that gauntlet match? And based on who's still there, obviously we know Austin Theory's now out. I love how they refer to the fact in a backstage bit that Austin Theory, if he won, could just finger poke of doom Johnny Gargano, and Gargano could win and go on. 6 guys: Leon Ruff, Swerve Scott, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, LA Knight. What do you think of those 6? Who are you looking at, given that that's the order that they're coming out? Who do you think, based on that's winning
It's
the whole
the two
thing?
guys in the middle that have my attention, Bronson Reed and Cameron Grimes. Cameron has been doing some killer work. He's really earned the opportunity in the spot. Bronson Reed as well has had lots of matches, kind of exhibitions, but he's gotten himself into contention. I look at Ruff and Swerve, and I think they could have their own feud. They are having they've been having matches. Loomis and Knight. I'm not ready for LA Knight to have title contention yet. Hasn't really. I mean, it's good old Eli Drake, but he won the whole thing. Like you said, kind of a bit of a kerfuffle at the end with Loomis.
And he was the only one to get in Johnny Gargano's face afterwards.
And Loomis has had North American opportunities, so but
he's also the one that has the most history with Johnny right now.
True.
So there's already a story there.
But I'm looking at Grimes really hard.
I'm looking at Reed really hard.
Reed,
From where he's coming into this match, he could easily take everybody else out, I think, and still in storyline, they could still look strong. So there's a lot of possibilities they had left open there. I think that was pretty smart booking. Also smart booking over in the Cruiserweight Championship division. Santos Escobar coming out saying, reiterating once again that the Cruiserweight division exists because of the kind of stuff that his family and his legacy has created. So he is the deserving Cruiserweight champion. He decided to prove it by having a match with Tyler Breeze. Poor Tyler Breeze tried his best, but ultimately could not handle it and lost to him straight up. There was no interference from Legado de Fantasma, but they were ringside. And while they were ringside, they did manage to get challenged by MSK, who came out to the ring, and the grizzled young veterans who were up on the monitor. So building up that triple threat tag match for the pay-per-view as well.
Put that in my eye hole so hard.
See how it's done, main roster? Triple threat tag match. That's going to be an absolute baller.
That could potentially be match of the week.
Of a match.
I'm just going to spoil that right here.
I don't know. The rest of that show looks great. As we mentioned, Raquel Gonzalez was fending off Io all night. She also had a match with Zoe Stark, where Zoe Stark looked phenomenal again, man. Zoe Stark looks great. The fact that she put Dakota Kai over the wall at one point makes me think the two of them could have a really sick feud. And I'm actually kind of hoping that's how they kind of turn that a little bit. But I love the way that Io Shirai just kept coming back from the dead to kill Raquel Gonzalez here. It made me wonder if maybe because of that, it made me wonder if they're trying to make Io look good before she gets beaten.
I loved her standing in the ring, yelling in Japanese, and Raquel just comes out like, "Look, woman, I've been beating your ass all night. It's nothing. I'll just do it again. Fine." I thought that was fantastic, and I completely agree. This is a shot that I feel like I called back at Survivor or War Games. When Raquel pinned Io for that match.
They both looked great.
They both looked great. I love this build. This is one of the best women's builds we've had in a long time. Yes, absolutely. And this will send Raquel Gonzalez to the moon.
I think whether she wins or loses, it's a big deal for her.
I agree.
So, and this whole feud for her has made her a big deal. Both of them looked awesome here. Io is like, even though she got beat up all night, she ends up standing tall at the end. Raquel looked like a monster all night. Great stuff all around.
Kyle threw in 100 bits. Let me call these out real quick. I love how Loomis just stood there the entire time. Wonder if they'll try an HBK JBL angle with Strong and Grimes. Side note, Io has successfully incorporated the energy of the Black. Somehow, Io has successfully incorporated the energy of the Black Knight and Ricky Bobby. I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
She was coming at everyone like a spider monkey.
He threw in another 100 bits, said the Cruiserweight and NXT title matches are a nightmare for me to pick because I have no idea how to pick them because I have no idea who their next potential opponent would be for either possible winner.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm happy with either one winning.
We're all winners is what that means.
We are the winners. We are the winners.
Thank you, Kyle.
You know who wasn't a winner? Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro.
Yeah, they had a good time.
No, they were supposed to have a tag team match against Qian Sha, meaning they were going to face both Mei Ying and Xia Li. But instead of that, they ended up getting a handicap match against Xia Li because Qian Sha just stayed up on her throne. We got a good look at her face this week, like a much better look at her face behind the hair. It does look like it is actually Karen Q, which I think is a good role for her. It means that at some point she can get in the ring and wrestle. But she didn't this week. She just stood up on her throne, and at some point, Caden Carter got sick of it, went up and tried to get in her face, Kaden Carter got grabbed by the throat and then had some vape blown in her face, and she passed out. And meanwhile, back in the ring, Kacy Catanzaro had a huge boot to the face by Xia Li to get 1, 2, 3. So I was worried. Remember last week, Nick, we were worried that this was going to demystify Chun Sha a little bit. And do you feel like this succeeded in both making them look terrifying and not demystifying them while still allowing them to have some sort of a match thing going on?
Yeah, I think it was okay. I don't want there to be physicality with her up out of the chair yet. I feel like that was maybe a bad move.
Save that for a long time.
We got a long way to go. But
that's all the physicality I want her to see. I want to see from her is just like, grab and something weird and supernatural, and then that's it.
Yeah. How dare you come within arm's reach of me? I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna punish you for that. But standing up, I don't want her like moving really.
No.
Yeah.
She should be a weird, mysterious Shao Kahn kind of figure. Yep. So, but aside from that, what a bizarre angle. Yeah. But it was the middle of the show. It was just something to do, and it was fine. We also had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, The Way, getting a semi-squash on a couple of right now enhancement talent, but Zeta Ramir and Gigi Dolan, a.k.a. Priscilla Kelly, having another tag match here. Zeta Ramir actually used to be she was trained by Booker T, and she looked great.
Fantastic.
Like, I like Priscilla Kelly, but dude, I think Zeta might have looked better than Priscilla Kelly in this
Indy
match.
Hartwell's looking better too, for that matter.
Indy Hartwell's, she's looking clean in there.
Yep.
And of course, Candice is Candice. But afterwards, they said, you know what we deserve. We deserve a title shot. And out came Shotzi and Ember riding on their tank to go, okay, we're going to shoot you with our little Nerf gun. Hee, we accept. You know me, Nick. I love Ember Moon. I adore Shotzi Blackheart. She might be my favorite woman in wrestling right now. But did this strike you the way that it struck me, as just being completely dorky of a challenge acceptance?
Kind of. But
did it not hit?
Kind of, but it's so over with me, and I'm such a huge dork myself.
Yeah.
Like, shot her with the missile. Yeah. This is for people like me. I love the music, the metal music. I love the tank. I love that. I don't really love the pairing of Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. I feel like Shotzi maybe had better potential as a single star. I still hope for that in the future. I feel like it's good for Ember. It diminishes Shotzi a little bit. And that's my only beef that I have.
I feel like it kind of diminishes Ember as well. It diminishes both of them, but that's the nature of being in a tag team.
Yeah.
And right now, given the breadth of the women's division, I think it's good to have them in a tag team.
Yeah.
This was not their best moment. I'm sure they'll recover. It just, I don't know.
The match is going to be sick. It'll be fine.
And that match is going to be sick. Yeah. Another match, I think, where you have a lot of women who are absolutely going to, I think, blow a lot of tops. People are not ready for how good. I think Indy's going to have to keep up. But anytime you have the other three going, it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be some of the best women's wrestling out there right now.
Yep.
Full stop.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, was it dorky?
Yes.
Yeah, but Shotzi and Ember are kind of chaotic dorks. That chemistry kind of works for me. Same.
It's, what? You're not wrong. It just hit me wrong this week. It's like when you eat something you like. We love talking about eating in this group. So when you eat something that you like and it just kind of sticks in your throat a little bit, and you're like, it's not me. It doesn't mean I'm never going to stop eating pizza, but just that bite just didn't go down. It just went down.
I missed one from earlier. Kyle threw in another 100 bits, said this seemed like a major missed opportunity. I think talking about Chun Sha. I feel it's time to get in the ring, especially considering we need Chun Sha to progress to get into the tag title picture.
Keep it in your pants.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I say.
Slow play it.
Yep. Don't rush it, man.
Slow play it. Don't rush it. If she'd gotten in the ring this week, I would have been like, no, don't demystify it yet. It's keep it weird. Keep it mysterious. Yes. Keep it mysterious a little bit longer.
Thanks for all the bits, Kyle.
I think what we need is to get them away from the KCs.
Yes.
And have Xia Li kill somebody else. Have her go on a reign of terror with other recognizable people, not the KCs.
Are they teeing her up for Raquel?
Move on. I wouldn't be mad at that. But you can't send her up against Raquel unless you're willing to have Raquel sell a little bit, give her a little bit.
Yeah. True.
Kind of the way that Raquel sold for Zoe Stark this week, where Zoe got a lot of offense in. That was a brilliant match, by the way. Zoe Stark and Raquel Gonzalez was actually really well booked, where it made Zoe look like she was so fierce and so intense that she kind of knocked the big-ass Raquel Gonzalez back on her heels. But Raquel is just such an absolute monster beast that she recovered, and all it took was just like a couple big moves, and it was done. Yep. It made Zoe look like a really awesome, fiery babyface, and made Raquel look like a monster. That's what you want in your matches. Make both people look good, even if one has to lose.
Absolutely.
So, two guys that are looking good going into their match, Ciampa and Walter. Walter had a very typically professional, very straightforward message for Ciampa. I'm going to show you why I think the mat is sacred. Cool. Ciampa a little more fired up because Walter, he didn't know. He ripped off Ciampa's necklace. His daughter gave it to him. He didn't know. No problem. But you know what, Walter? I'm gonna teach you a thing or two. You obviously, there's a lot of things you don't know, like what it's like to fall from the top. Ciampa gave an absolutely amazing promo here, Nick.
It's a masterclass of how to give a promo.
There was two parts to it. There was the first part where he was sitting down, then he tosses the chair and he gets up and he screams the rest of it, and it was all just absolutely razor sharp. Brilliant. I'm now even more excited than I was before to see this match.
Ciampa is going to get his chest caved in.
Probably, but after that promo, Nick, it did something that promos are supposed to do. It made me wonder if Ciampa has a chance.
Yep.
It made me go, huh?
Uh-huh.
Could they have Ciampa win?
Could Ciampa be the one that dethrones him after 720 days or whatever it is?
If not Ciampa, then who? We got to get out of here, but quick call. Just you tell me who dethrones Walter.
Ideally he gets a Drew McIntyre. Ideally he ends up on the main roster somewhere.
He's not going to move to the US.
I know, but in a perfect world.
You know who I think dethrones him? Finn Balor, after losing the NXT title to Karrion Kross.
No.
Balor was supposed to have a feud with Walter before the whole pandemic. They run that back. We get Balor versus Walter, and Balor's the guy who dethrones him. He becomes the face of NXT UK as a way of building that brand.
They better have a three-peat of matches of it better be an absolute long-going war between those two before they drop that to Finn.
I'm fine with that. Give him 6 more months.
Yeah.
I'm mad at that. One final thing on NXT. That O'Reilly Cole video.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone's talking about it. It's absolutely freaking epic. It's one of the most epic goddamn things I've ever seen. And we only saw part of it. They're actually going to have the whole thing up on, I think, YouTube at some point. Or no, the WWE Network. They're going to a whole special of interviews. Dear God, they made that thing look way more epic than they did on TV.
I love putting them in like the interrogation booths and Cole going, I got 15 minutes. What do you got for me? Just being a dick, and I love it.
My God, they threw every kind of technique at the wall. They even had the two of them going at each other like dogs last week. They had like rain effects over that, so it looked thunder and lightning. Like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? But I'll be goddamned. It worked, Nick. It got me. By the end, I was like goosies and chills, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. My soul is ready. My body is ready. Take me, NXT Daddy. I'll take this match. I'll let it happen.
Any chance of a Ridge Holland return for this? Is it too soon?
Whoa. What? I think it's too soon for one thing. That guy's leg just,
it bent 3 different ways.
He was a mess.
That's the only weird thing I can think about. That, but this should be like the ultimate blow off for Undisputed Era. Yeah. They're done after this.
Ridge Holland, man, that guy went down like Mr. Glass at the end of Unbreakable. There's no way he's going to be back this soon. So yeah, no, I'm another match that's going to possibly steal a show. It's just, this is a stacked couple of pay-per-view.
It's one of the reasons we absolutely wanted to include it in the pick'ems for WrestleMania week. So
yeah, it's just too good.
Calthron, last little bit here. 100 bits said, I need Ciampa to have some sort of redemption obsession similar to HBK going after Taker for round 2 after that promo when he loses to Walter. Maybe Chase Cross. Ilya dethrones Walter, in my opinion.
Ilya is having a good, I won't call it a Hangman Page. He's having his own kind of redemption arc over there. So I agree. That would be a good one too. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at Ilya doing it either.
Thank you, Kyle.
Come back. Although, dear God, you're going to let those two guys get in a ring together again?
Ilya barely escaped with his life.
Like, just, I mean, I would actually feel better if New Jack and Vic Grimes got in a ring together again before I want to see Ilya and Walter.
Okay, that's
what?
Not much.
What?
that's a bit cold to hot right
what?
there.
What?
Cal threw in another 100 bits. But seriously, WWE, can we get the 30-minute long prime targets again? These things are always awesome, and we haven't had a full one since Blackpool 2. And yeah, Holland is nowhere near close. Tegan Knox is, though.
Oh, God.
Poor girl.
Oh, Tegan. All right, Jesus Christ. I don't think I'm about to. I don't know if I want to see Tegan back in a ring.
Yeah.
I'm always, every time she does anything,
too much
I'm like,
anxiety.
Oh, your legs.
Yeah.
But
we did it, Ian. We
Nick,
survived.
Let's undo the anxiety and let's go do something we like to call, Nick, our moment of positivity.
Mop, 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 mop.
The mop, the moment of positivity. That's right. We got to look back at this previous week of wrestling, Nick, and find something positive about it all. I know, I'm sorry, I was a bit down on SmackDown this week, but I promise to make it up to you right now by bringing something positive to the table, something happy, something that makes us all smile so we can leave this show on an up note. Nick, what was your moment of positivity for this week?
It's got to be Trent and Kris Statlander coming back with Sue in the minivan. Like that whole Arcade Anarchy match, you know, the two massive returns for AEW wrapped around a fun Arcade Anarchy match that's been building for a long time between those two teams. I thought this was absolutely my highlight. That just it was my popcorn fodder. Just oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. It's just constant going on, and just the you know the factions going at each other the way that they are in AEW.
You can't have two. You have to have one.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
you
okay.
like rattle off 2 or 3 every week. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. What was your Surrey and Dangerous?
It was a good week. It was a good week. No, you're right. The factions were great too, man. Like there was a lot to be happy about. I actually wanted to kind of, in spite of myself, take one from just force myself to find one from SmackDown this week. But I'm not going to. I love the Inner Circle coming back and being in the bathroom so much. that it was so fun. It was like just a little thing. But you know what? Actually, no. I'm going to, like, the moment that popped me the hardest. I was going to say that was the one that popped me the hardest, but it wasn't it. It wasn't it. Nick, you nailed it. All the faction stuff was great on AEW. It was something else with the factions. And that I'm actually like trying to think through them all. It was the moment that QT Marshall turned around and half the Nightmare Family fell on the other half. It was a swerve that actually made me go, oh God. Like it got me where I just was like, I was horrified. I felt that like sinking feeling of like something very wrong is happening. Yeah. That should not be happening. Like when the
brawl breaks out at the family reunion over like whose barbecue is better and like everybody's drunk and like, you've never been to one of those? No? Okay. It's just some of you guys might know what I'm talking about. When uncles have had 12 too many beers and they start arguing about whose barbecue sauce is better. Yeah, that's it. Kyle, I'm going to switch gears. Kyle throwing 100 bits says my mop is just that takeover card. That's just a perfect card across the board given where the talent they have is right now. And this takeover feels we are going to get some major swerve storylines spinning out of this. I agree, yes. Kyle. And I'll throw in one more mop before we get out of here real quick. And it's the fact that this week we got the simulcast stuff going across YouTube and Facebook. Thank you all across YouTube, Facebook, and all of you here on Twitch watching with us.
Yes.
Every single show going forward will be on all three. You have my word on that. Also, I'm very excited that we finally got the digital version of the Pick'ems form for all the patrons to play in.
Yes.
So make sure you guys are signed up over at patreon.com/BWO. All you got to be in is that $5 tier to be able to submit yours. I will be getting the link up for Stand and Deliver picks. There'll be 2 separate forms so you guys know. One for Stand and Deliver both nights, and one for WrestleMania both nights. All the matches, right? So basically, same way you always do, you pick your winner and pick your confidence points, right? Yep. Easy peasy. But it'll be a digital form this time that automatically puts it in a spreadsheet, and I don't have to wrangle your pictures that you take with your phone with your really bad handwriting.
Oh, come on.
And your forgotten tiebreaker times and all of that good stuff. I love you guys.
Wow, Nick, tell us how you really feel.
I'm just giving you shit.
My God.
But no, it's all going to be done digitally.
Nick's shooting on the phenomenal ones at the end of the show. They were so generous today. They were so wonderful. Hype train level 5, and Nick is going to shoot on the phenomenal ones at the end of the show. Oh my God. This was a week of swerves.
Yeah.
Nick's turning heel at the end of
Faction
BWO
war.
Friday nights. Oh my God. Nick, I thought I knew you, man.
I love you guys. Thank you so much. I love doing the pick'ems. I love doing the spreadsheet live during the event. This is just going to make it so much easier, not only for you guys to submit, but for us to manage as well, which enables us to do things like the 4-night grand pick'ems championships. Will James snuck in 100 bits here at the end, says, Wednesday was great when Christian Cage's first single match in 7 years was just a nice side dish.
Right? Crazy. What a week.
Oh, yes, Jesse, you get patron pick'ems for TakeOver. In fact, if you missed it at the top of the show, I'll be posting something bigger. We're going to be doing patron pick'ems across both nights of TakeOver and both nights of WrestleMania cumulatively. So whoever picks all of
4
them
nights?
right will be the grand champion for BWO patron pick'ems.
4 nights. Friday night's halftime.
Yep. Friday night's where we go. After 2 nights of lights out.
We'll be here on this show. Just going like, oh God, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. Oh,
yes.
Lizard on a chair. All right, Nick, take us home. We got to get out of here.
Linktree.com/BWO. You guys know where to find all the stuff. Make sure you head over there, like all the things, follow us, share us with your friends and family. Tell your family, tell your friends. Best wrestling show on the planet. We love you guys for hanging out with us. Thanks for spending your Friday night with us here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We love you guys for it. Be sure to follow the Facebook. Be sure 100% get into the Discord. If you need some help, message me on Facebook or something. I'll help you find the right place. But get into the Discord for live chats throughout all of the live shows that are happening next week and WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver both nights. I promise you that is some of the best stuff, and you don't want to miss out on the Discord live chats. What else? Thank you. Big shout out to everybody on Twitch tonight, guys, for completing the level 5 hype train. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all of the subs and the gifted subs. And thank you guys for all being patrons. We look forward to the big 4 pay-per-views because of the Patron Pick'ems Championships. And we look forward to doing your questions every single week. So go ahead and get signed up. Patreon.com/BWO. Get your questions in for this Tuesday's patron mailbag and for the rest of them throughout the month of April. And am I missing anything? Linktree.com/BWO, Linktree.com/BWO, Linktree.com/BWO.
And Kyle Cotton snuck in last 100 bits here. Unlike Ibushi, he promises to keep both titles going for both pick'ems.
Oh.
Yeah, Ibushi, be like Kyle, Ibushi.
Yes.
Ibushi, be like Kyle.
Exactly. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.